Welcome on in. We're trying some sort of like vertical thing. I'm sorry, so sorry, chat. I don't think we need this chat box on the vertical. Hold on. How is everybody doing today? I'm gonna move that off because I think it has its own. I think it has its own chat implementation, so I don't think I need that on the vertical. How is everybody doing today? Obviously, I'm not a fan of the vertical canvas. You know, like, what do you want me to say? I think it kind of sucks. We might go back next week to not doing it, but we'll check it out. We'll check it out. I'm doing it because Twitch is incentivizing it. But we'll see. We'll see going forward. How is everybody doing today? Welcome on in to the Central Committee stream with your host Mike from PA. We are your faces in the chat and the roses above. All right, are you saying I should flip it? Are you saying I should put the screen at the bottom and my face at the top? That just seems wrong to me. That just seems wrong to me. Am I crazy? Like, who wants my face anyway? Who cares? Not great. I feel like my friends are distancing themselves from me, but I know it's just in my head. I'm sure you're fine, bro. But you should, reach out to some of your closest friends and just talk it out. Mine is 20K. Hey, mainstream media, you're wrong about Hassan Piker. Just so disappointing, unjust, and wrong. Oh, no. Oh, no. They're failing. They're failing. I didn't really watch this Madeline Somerville person. What I want to know is, why the fuck is she on TV? Like, that's what I want to understand. Why the fuck is she on TV at all? 2,000 followers? Like, please tell me more about how she is on television. She says she does it for free. Okay, well, there's clearly something that I need to figure out to get on. Because if you could just get on with no following whatsoever, I'm clearly doing something wrong. She said she worked for Georgia State Senate Democrats or something. Uh-huh. The Holy War for the Right to Think for Yourself on Substack. The Holy War for the Right to Think for Yourself. What does that mean? I don't think I can follow. I don't think I follow that title. I don't know what that means. She's not MAGA. Okay, she's not MAGA. She seemed fine. She worked behind the speech, political speech writing, and consulting type shit. What, you don't think I've done that? Anyway, what are we saying? Moving on. Clearly, I'm not in the club. Just contact Newsmax or News Nation and often be a socialism expert. I mean, I think I need a producer, chat. I think I need a producer, chat. Anyway, what was I saying? Welcome on into the Central Committee stream with your lovely host Mike from PA. We are live once again. I guess the majority report canceling is over. I understand that people had canceled them because they had been so supportive of Plattner. Is Ryan Grimm still canceled, or is he uncanceled again? I can't keep track. I can't keep track of it. Ryan's fine again? Okay, that's good. We're back. Who tried to cancel MR? Do I even need to say it? Okay, so we're back to being able to watch majority report. That's good. That's good. I thought MR retracted their endorsement. So did everybody. That's the point. I think with Ryan, he apologized. Like, obviously. Like, yeah, of course. So what are we talking about today? One, I don't know if you guys have seen Destiny's court case depositions, but that dude should be going to prison. And watching him trying to debate the word private may be one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. It was dumber than when Bill Clinton said, it depends on what the definition of is. So that's happening. What else? Hassan Abi has destroyed Fox News. The attempts to like attack Hassan have just backfired. This is what they don't understand. Our power is not based off of traditional media gatekeepers. We don't need them. They don't matter. They can slander us all day, but as long as you guys keep watching, it literally doesn't matter, and they have no power. The gatekeeping is done. AIPAC lost again in California with another massive L, and I think Donald Trump may actually destroy the United States of America, and it's really not good. U.S. bonds are selling off because the Japanese are dumping treasuries to try to save the yen, and it's not working. And apparently the U.S. is selling short-term bonds to buy down long-term bonds, or vice versa. And I think America just hit $40 trillion in debt. The vast majority of it is due to Trump and Bush's tax cuts. Short-term pain for long-term pain is exactly right. So let's throw a title up on there. Assad defeats Fox News. Destiny, Bungles, sex, revenge porn case. Revenge porn case. I you know, and of course we have more progressive victories. Everybody who deserves to lose is losing. Everybody who deserves to win is winning, and it just feels good, you know. Oh, can I do a quick aside on the like supposed drama? Can I just do a quick aside on that? One of the most surprising things just happened. Someone was mature and reasonable. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, but then I was like, I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so proud of Rhizome. Vio will talk about it later, but the guy actually showed the ability to self-reflect and apologize. I think he's going to be speaking on it more. I think Vio is going to talk about it later. It's obviously he apologized to Vio and not me, because it's really more about what he did to Vio, which is all I cared about. And I think the thing that really bothers me about this entire, you know, so-called situation, so-called drama, is all I've ever wanted is for everybody to treat each other like a comrade. You don't have to be friendly with everybody. You don't have to like everybody else's content. Just because you don't like someone's content doesn't mean they're a bad person that you need to try to destroy. Or if they are successful, that means something is wrong. Okay? We are supposed to be all in this together, pushing towards a joint goal of overcoming the systems of oppression in our society. It sure in hell wasn't Grebo. I was going to say this guy and his chat are embarrassing freaks. They are to you what Destiny is for Assad. Nah, he doesn't rise up to that level. He's not important enough. And he doesn't really have, he doesn't have the motion to be. Destiny is my destiny, unfortunately. Unfortunately. He's just kind of a fucking really embarrassing bad guy who is narcissistic. The thing about narcissists is they are physically incapable of taking accountability. They're physically incapable of admitting fault because they are delusional. I need you guys, like when we say narcissist, you think of, oh, this person is vain, or this person really loves themselves, or this person is arrogant, or this person, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's not what it is. Narcissism is a delusionary mindset that cannot be pierced and is very hostile. It's kind of sociopath light, but with heavier on the delusions. Sociopaths tend to be more anhedonic, meaning they don't feel feelings, and they're more calculating, whereas narcissists are more delusional. They self-delude in order to do their like hostile acts, right? So you need to think like narcissists are closer to sociopaths than they are to like vain people or arrogant people or people who sniff their own farts or whatever. It's really scary, to be honest with you. I am not a narcissist. I have some narcissistic traits, but I'm not delusional. And I ruminate a lot. I self-reflect. I apologize when I'm in the wrong. I admit fault. These are all things that narcissists don't do. So I would say that I definitely have, I think all of us have narcissistic traits. If you're a streamer, it requires a certain level of narcissism to press the go live button and think people should listen to what you're saying. Like that in and of itself is a little narcissistic, but I'm talking about like NPD, hardcore NPD. And obviously I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose. As I read Greblo's statement, he thinks 3 hours of door knocking on a paid vacation puts him in some mega important tier. It's insane. The thing about like Oliver Larkin in particular and Francesca Hong and all these people, I supported them before anybody else did. Nobody would even know who their names are. Like, I was the person who started off Francesca Hong's media. I was the person who raised money for them first. I'm talking about last year for Francesca and 6 months ago for Oliver, right? I'm the one who pushed them in our space and tried to get more and more people interested. I'm not taking credit for their campaigns. They did an amazing, they got a little bit of help from me in the beginning, and they went and did way more than I ever could have imagined. And they should be so proud. And it's not just that I did it or anything. I don't want you to think that. I'm just saying that the idea that I haven't helped Oliver Larkin enough, when Vio and I together have raised over $40,000 for him over 6 months ago starting, and we have, you know, recommended him to all these other streamers and done all these collaborations and done all these, like, you know, events to try to push them, and, you know, algorithmically, like, using my clout and using my platforms to boost their posts and all this shit that I've been doing. It is odd for people who are anti-electoralism, and that was the main reason why they attacked me, to now try to use the people that I brought up as evidence that I'm not working with them or something. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm from Wisconsin, so I knew her before you. Ha 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 ha. Prove it. Literally prove it. Literally prove it. You knew the Wisconsin socialist before me? You knew Ryan Clancy before me? Mike from PA interviews Milwaukee candidates Juan Miguel Martinez, Ryan Clancy, Eric Rohrholm 4 years ago. Francesca Hogg 10 months ago. There ain't no fucking way. She's been in our local government as someone from also in Wisconsin. Yes, we did. Okay. Yes, no shit. What I'm saying is you've been interested in her for more than 4 years. Okay, good. I'm glad. I'd love to see the proof. That chatter was actually Ryan Clancy's grandfather. Yeah. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is, it's not that I'm the most important person in the world or whatever. You know, I would never want you to think that I was saying that. All I'm saying, and what I want you to understand is, I have never wanted to have these fights. I didn't initiate the fights with Destiny. I didn't initiate these fights with Vosh. I didn't initiate the fights with Bo of the Fifth Column. Well, maybe I kind of initiated that one because he is a human trafficker. I didn't initiate the fights with Loner Box and Hutch and all this other shit. All the people that we have fought, I have stated my political opinion and done my organizing, and they have tried to go after me personally. And there's a long, long line of people that have tried and failed. And the one thing that has remained, you know, singular, Paralyzed Pendant Plug gifted 6 tier 1s because they gifted 5, and Twitch gave an extra 1 because I'm doing dual formats. Wow. That's the first sub gift we've gotten. I still remember Vosh and his dumbfuck community clouding on you because you for talking about sewer socialism. Yes, I know. As I said then, and as I say now, when we talk about this stuff, I am not going off the algorithm. I am not going off of what other people are talking about. I have done my own study for decades. I've been involved in public policy for decades. I've been involved in campaigns for decades. When I talk about this shit, I don't need to use Twitter to tell you what the next topic is. I can talk about my own shit, and I can talk about issues because I studied securities in law school, right? I worked in the Committee of Urban Affairs on blight and city development. So when I talk about why, while I was the first person to make fun of abundance, literally, while other people were like, well, we could do socialist abundance, I was like, no, this is standard neo-lib centrist repackaging of the same ideas. Why? Because I know what the ideas are, so I can analyze the book, which I read and told you it was fucking garbage from day one. I was there talking about China's development model way before everybody else, literally. And I was there showing you how it was going to be a success and why. Years and years and years before everyone else. Sewer socialism is just one of many things in a long line of ideas that we have promulgated on this stream that have come out and matured into fruition in front of your eyes. And so, did I ever return that book? Hell no. I probably should though. And like, I think that what I'm trying to say is, when someone is fighting with me, I am not going after them personally. That has just never happened. Like, I don't just like launch attacks on someone and try to mock them for their personal shit or try to embarrass them or anything like that. I don't use, you know, right-wing hate shit when attacking them, right? I don't think that's okay. I debate their ideas. Like, for example, one of the issues that broke me up with Marxism was right before the primary. Marxism was here in the chat and he was trashing Zohran Mamdani for and I believe it was because he went to a Bronx Democratic club and there was some Zionist politician there and there was some sort of like club group photo and he was trying to use that as an example of how Zohran is betraying Zionism and is actually a fraud and we shouldn't support him and it won't help the left, right? And I said, that's nonsense. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He needs to have the Democratic Party behind him so he can win against Cuomo and the general. Shut the fuck up. That's insane. And that's where this came out of, right? So let's think about the ideas, though. What he was trying to do to smash and defame Zohran, and the outcome of that would have been what? Defeated by Andrew Cuomo and the general if the left had just given up on him? If he had gotten his way and Zohran Mamdani had gotten the left's support for Zohran had collapsed and he was defeated by Andrew Cuomo, imagine that in New York and compare that to the New York we have today. Was he right about his ideas? That's what I ask you. Was Marxism right that Zohran Mamdani was bad for the left, would be a disgusting sellout, and would destroy the momentum of socialism in America? Was that idea correct? Was it correct? Or was it wrong? Was it fundamentally, dangerously wrong? Brett went also into every leftist streamer's chat talking about how you should be banned off the platform. He's a weasel through and through. I mean, there's that. If Zohran doesn't start understanding who his ideological enemies are, there's no handshaking or nice words about them that will ever change that. I really worry for his mayorship. This is in the middle again. Zohran's over here. He's going to the Bronx Democratic Club, meeting black constituents. And that it was the district of, what's his fucking name? Richie Torres. And he's like, oh my, and this was some sort of design, you know, Zohran Mamdani. He's retweeting Bronx anti-war. A so-called socialist cozies up with Bronx Dem sellouts. Richie Torres, Congress's biggest Zionist whore installed by AIPAC. And Vanessa Gibson, a Bronx top Zionist token. They fuel genocidal policies for the Bronx to Palestine. They are the enemy of the people. Oh, did I misspell bombshell? Oh, thank you. I said boomshell. Fucking typo. How do I even do that? Thank you, chatter. It's early, all right? Fuck off. And it's just, he's accepting knee bends with no concession on policy. Elections are about getting 50% plus one, and he's doing that. He'll be targeting his enemies in elections where they are vulnerable. You can't fight every direction at once. And that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. And then he came into office, and then he endorsed a bunch of people, and he got rid of a bunch of Zionists. And yes, he hasn't won every battle all at once, but that's literally what happened. My analysis, again, his analysis, dead wrong. And I want you to understand, this is not about him reading Lolita or, shilling cryptocurrencies or any of the other things that we can attack him for, right? This is not about him posting like weird blackface needlepoint on his Instagram. I could go through all the list of the weird shit that Brett does. I don't need to do that. Okay, I'm just talking about his ideas, right? And they're fundamentally wrong. I think that's what you need to focus on. Now, that's it. Who's the person I muted? Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I don't usually mute people. And I don't know what it is, but like, and then when they say they just want accountability. Oh, by the way, chat, right now, all times you give 5 subs or greater, Twitch is giving a free sub because I have the vertical mode enabled on Twitch. Sorry, I'm getting sick for the sniffles. So, by the way, anytime you give 5 subs, I get a bonus sub. That's amazing. Extra money from Twitch. Basically, like severely reducing their cut, which is very nice. What was I saying? Oh, and like, let's just be completely honest about it. You know, I'm not trying to like act like a victim here, but I think it is kind of gross. It is kind of gross the way that he had, and I thought I had the clips, and maybe I didn't. I was going to show some clips of him just repeating Destiny talking points, but apparently I don't have those clips anymore. Huh. Thought someone sent them to me. Maybe they deleted it. It's okay. Waited till Claire Valdez goes to Congress. LOL, now she works with Zionist Chuck Schumer, a billionaire enabler, Mitch McConnell. Didn't she know she was a secret Christian fundamental? Yeah. You could, by the way, if you are just coming in and you're on your phone, you're like, Mike, why is everything different? There is now a vertical mode on Twitch. So, you know, if you don't like it, you can switch back to classic. I've never seen a more psyop more effective than the data center stuff. Absolutely wild how bipartisan the data center hate is for such an incredibly benign industry. The same folks who be widely enthusiastic over a new steel mill are irate at the idea of a data center. People have seen their communities crumbling for decades, so they can't get anything done. And then these data centers come in and run roughshod over communities and get subsidized to do it. And you think people have a problem? People having a problem with that is bad? You have a brainlet. You are a brainlet. Hold on. Let me see if I just want to show some of these clips. I had them. I just wanted to show it to you. Man, where the fuck? Am I delusional? I guess I am. I guess I invented it. I guess I dreamed it. Why can't they build data centers in a billionaire's property area? Well, that's their land. That's their land. Billionaires don't want to have any impacts. Virginia is so colonized by data centers, it's insane. Oh, sure. This is probably not great. CIA staff exodus leaves new retirees waiting months for benefits. Honestly, good, but the people remaining are what scare me. It's like anybody who has any amount of like legitimate subordination to democracy is quitting, and it's only the biggest fascists that stay behind. But maybe I'm just being pessimistic. Can someone walk me through Kate Winslet's and others' goals of conflating BLM and woke 1.1? It seems bad faith. Yeah, they don't want to talk about what people really mean, which is the social media and interpersonal excesses that made people feel like there were constant witch hunts, and the way that people would flatten someone's entire history and life down to a single clip and use that to performatively exile them. They don't want people to talk about that behavior. And ironically, they want to do it by saying that we were talking about BLM, which nobody was, which literally nobody was. Notice how they are conflating moving on from woke 1.0 to moving on from woke. The point of dark woke is that we're still woke. We've just changed the way we do some presentation to be more aggressive against the right and less mamby-pamby Mr. Rogers. Oh my God, I can't believe you called Donald Trump fat. You know what I mean? Like, people used to like go, you're being fat phobic. If you went, Donald Trump has a micro penis, they would be like, everybody in the chat who has a micro penis has just caught a stray. And you have insulted everybody, and it's not fair to people with micro penises to say Donald Trump has a like, that is what we're talking about, okay? Dark woke is going, okay, yes, we understand that. We're not talking about those people. We're going after his masculinity because he does this performative masculinity, and it goes at the heart of what conservatism is about, which is this brass-fronted masculine performance that's all fake. And a lot of the people that did a lot of performative shit are mad that you're saying the performative shit doesn't matter. Again, it's not to say that we're not giving up. Like, you've never heard me go against trans people or say that we don't need to do massive reforms to our society or anything like that. All we're talking about is we've been blessed with the opportunity to make these arguments again, but using better terminology and more optically secure and more better oriented towards the true persuadables, while also honestly doing some roundhouses at the right wing. That's what it's about. It's not about abandoning the ideas. It's about repackaging and reimagining how we present them. And that's what, I'll be honest, Nixon has been able to do.
So given all of that you've just said, Hakeem Jeffries, who would be in line to be Speaker of the House, recently said he doesn't support Medicare for all. He's not on that bill anymore. He used to be. Is he wrong?
Right.
Why is the leadership? Do Democrats have the right leaders here in Washington?
He is absolutely wrong. How can you all of a sudden change the tune? And I'll tell you how you change the tune. When your corporate donors
should he not be
decide to
Speaker?
give you more money so that you won't, that is up to the Congress people. I'm running for U.S. Senate.
Well, what about Chuck Schumer? Should he be the majority leader if Democrats take back the Senate?
I think I would possibly be looking elsewhere when I become the next United States Senator in regards to leadership. And I mean, we need to make sure that we have people who are centered on people, who are working for people, right? And so again,
do you think Schumer is going to support your campaign? Do you expect Democrats in Washington to send money to help you win?
The answer is yes. This isn't the Schumer party. It's the Democratic Party. And if Schumer wants their support, he should demonstrate why he should be leader instead of holding money that people donate to the Democratic Party over her head like it's money going to him or something. It's money that goes to the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party absolutely has a responsibility to support every candidate who's winnable, who is not, I assume there's something beyond the pale, but I can tell you there's nothing Angie Nixon has said that other senators are not saying right now.
I actually have Democrats in Washington already sending me money and already agreeing to campaign.
Have they committed to go on the air for you in a big way?
Who did you say? The DSCC?
The DSCC.
No, I haven't heard from. No, actually, our campaign is supposed to have a conversation with them sometime this week. But I want to be clear because a lot of people, this is my introduction to them. I am someone who is a former vice chair of a Democratic executive committee in Duval County. I also worked for the state party, the Florida Democratic Party, as a political director and a field director. I'm also a union organizer. I'm also someone who is not ashamed or afraid to vote against my caucus if it's not in the benefit, if it's not benefiting hardworking everyday people. I'm also okay with voting against Republicans. It's not about that. It's about the people for me.
And again, the left always gets these massively hostile interviews, but this is what we want, okay? This is what we're arguing for, right? Which is kind of an awareness of where the country is, the possibilities, and trying to accomplish something instead of just talking about things. And that's why, the way that the left has been ghettoized into academia, which is all about ideas and talking and blathering and not about putting hammers to nails and building something real. That's why the working class is alienated from the left. Not because we're not radical enough, but because we're not real enough. And that's why Zoran Mamdani is seeing so many people flock to him and go, maybe if this is what socialism looks like, maybe I'm a socialist. That is what we need going forward. All right. And ultimately, that is what we have meant by moving on from woke 1.0. The point of 1.0 is not that it's all bad. It's that it's the first version. And now we're working out the kinks. We're working out the bugs. And we're coming out with a new and improved version of the fundamental program. Do you understand? That's why people used version numbers, because they were specifically not getting rid of the past, but they were evolving it to the present. And it's weird to me that people are trying to characterize that as anything other than an improvement. And fundamentally for me, and what I've said before, the left grew not in 2020, but in 2016. 2016 was the moment that we began this realignment. And that was a realignment that was a little honest to true, was about the working class. And it was in 2020 when Bernie Sanders was wrapped up in all sorts of upper managerial class gauze and turned into a different version of himself that he was uncomfortable in. That's where he was defeated. Here's Angie Nixon going on and being asked about DSA's platform.
healthcare, right? I don't understand what is wrong with me not wanting people to go bankrupt if they go to the doctor. There are literally people who are dying because health insurance companies want to deny their claims. They want to deny them life-saving healthcare. Like, that is wrong. Do we not see anything wrong with these companies doing this? They're only doing this because they want to make a profit.
Why join the DSA if you disagree with various parts of their platform? Does it not just become a distraction from your own campaign and your own agenda?
You all are the only ones that are distracted. I'm actually going out talking to voters about the things that matter to them. And so we should make sure that we're pivoting to the right conversations. The fact remains that there are people who are dying because they don't have access to quality health care. Meanwhile, Ashley Moody voted to end the ACA subsidies. As I stated, nearly 300,000 people fell off the Affordable Care Act rolls. There are people who are dying because they don't have access to health care. Also, the fact that Ashley Moody is corrupt, right? She's corrupt. She allowed $10 million that was supposed to go towards the most medically needy kids to be diverted because they wanted to defeat 2 citizen-led ballot initiatives. The status quo is broken. People are losing their minds right now and taking their lives and even taking their children's lives. And the people at the top want to stoke division and want to push this hateful rhetoric. At the end of the day, I have always been about the people of Florida, which is why my campaign is Angie for Florida. I want people to no longer just survive. They deserve to thrive and flourish.
Very quickly, because I know that you have to go. Congressman Jolly says he is a capitalist.
I think this is why a lot of people on the left, people who consider themselves more to the left, but they aren't really, because there's no practical program that they're trying to aim for. They get mad when we talk about, okay, we call ourselves socialists, but what does that mean right now? What would you do as a socialist? And then we talk about nationalizing the health insurance industry, right? Decommodifying one of our most important sectors. And then people will go, well, that's not socialism. And it's like every single socialist party in our history, and communist party has moved to decommodify healthcare, has moved to make it a fundamental guarantee. Socializing health is a part of a socialist project. And it's about demonstrating the value of decommodification and decapitalization of that's not the right word. The way of definancializing health and how much benefits that will have. And it's about demonstrating through a concrete practice the value of our ideas in everybody's life. Everybody will feel that difference. Everyone in the entire country, and it will be undeniable. And so that is fundamentally why it's important that we do these kind of projects. And I will just forever and always disagree with everybody who doesn't think it's worthwhile. I think it's worthwhile to save 100,000 lives a year. I think it's worthwhile to put $1 trillion back into Americans' pockets every year. And it bothers me that people think that that is insufficient. How privileged and how comfortable do you have to be to feel that way? It actually blows my fucking mind, to be honest with you. All right, let us make fun of Destiny. Are you guys ready to make fun of Destiny? Who wants to make fun of Destiny for a little bit? Okay, listen. We're making fun of Destiny because apparently he had a deposition in his revenge porn case. Now, if you're not aware of the case, Destiny sent a bunch of pornography that he recorded with the consent and sometimes secretly of various people to third parties without their knowledge and consent. And then he apparently tried to send it to a figure named Rose, who he believed was a 18-year-old sex worker who turned out to be underage, and that he wasn't sending that revenge porn to an underage girl, but rather to her boyfriend who was older and who had produced child sex abuse material that he had shared with Destiny. So it was kind of like Destiny was trying to send this revenge porn to an underage person, but it turned out that he sent the revenge porn to a catfish who then sent him CSAM. So that is what has been revealed within this lawsuit, where the person who the revenge porn was taken of sued Destiny for violating Florida's sexual cyber harassment laws. Okay. And so the case is now proceeding to trial, where Destiny has hired some of the most expensive sex offender defense attorneys in the world. I believe his attorney also worked for Prince Andrew. But again, I can't verify that. It's old. I don't know if I still have that. I want to support it, but take that with a grain of salt. I can't definitively determine that. But he's spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars against this lawsuit. And so just recently, he was forced into a sworn deposition as part of the discovery process. Let's take a look at some of the questions that the Jane Doe's attorney asked Destiny and his answers. Sometimes in April 2025, you recall you did an interview with the content creator Willie Mack? Answer, yes. And he asked you about doxing Kumin and JSTLK. Among other things, yes. And do you recall responding for JSTLK and Kumin? I would kill them if I could. I would show up to their fucking house and do it. Do you recall that? That sounds like a statement I made, yeah. And then you also said, I do want to kill someone to kill JSTLK or Lav or Mr. Girl or Kumin. All those people can go die. Does that, when you read it like that, it sounds kind of psychotic, but yes, those were statements I made, yes. Okay, and those are people, JSTLK and Kumin, and you identified Lav as somebody. These are all people with knowledge of the allegations of the complaint. Objection! Calls for speculation as to what these people might or might not know. I think I listed them, but all of these people have been involved in long-term harassment campaigns against me that are preceding this complaint. And you state that you realize that committed green card marriage fraud in order to get her citizenship in the U.S. Do you see that? I see that, yeah. That I tweeted that, yeah. Do you have any basis to say that? I believe so, yeah. You know you're accusing plaintiff of committing a crime. I don't know if it would be her, or I can't speak to the legal conclusion, I mean. Now your wife, Melina, was not a U.S. citizen either. Was she? Correct. Was that also a green card marriage fraud? Absolutely not. Do you have any idea how long blank and blank has been married? No. But I think it speaks to the lack of public information about somebody who is supposedly a public person having a relationship with another supposedly public person. So because she did not publicize her marriage, that means it's fraudulent? Objection, misstates the witness testimony. That is exactly what he's saying. He was reformulating the question and re-asking. Is that what you're saying? Not necessarily. Now, not only have you harassed plaintiff online as well as her witnesses, you have even harassed and insulted her counsel, haven't you, including myself? I would say harass is one way, maybe you could phrase it, but I have definitely shared my opinions about the ongoing litigation, yes. That's what you call sharing your opinion, calling someone a dumb fuck? That is an opinion, yes. Sounds like an opinionated statement, and I did share it, so yes. And why did you stop streaming on Twitch? I was banned from the platform. Why? If you know, you can answer. The stated reason was for transphobic activity. Transphobic activity? Yeah, could you explain that? That's all they gave me in my ban information. I was fighting with another content creator. I said their community. I think I used the words, this community on Twitter is inbred. He said they were subhuman. He said trans people are subhuman. Twitch interpreted that as me attacking all trans people and not just that person and their friends. And then I was banned for hateful conduct for being transphobic. And the best part about all this is he's legitimately, quite frankly, and I don't know how else to put this, calling for people's deaths. He's admitting to not having the consent. Let me see if I could get more. I mean, these are might be worth zooming in back on vertical mode. Thank you. Thanks, bud. Let me see here. Oh, here we go. The OmniLiver showed here on April 30th, 2026 deposition. Destiny is asked about accusing Pixie of committing marriage fraud. He also admitted it's confirmation on page 356 that Destiny has spoken to lawyers about potentially contacting ICE. Mr. Bonnell, you're aware that there is a protective order in this case protecting plaintiff's legal name and also her legal identity and also the identity of her family members. Are you aware of that? I know that there are protective orders filed for this case. I would have to read the exact language to feel comfortable repeating them. But, okay, well, I'm going to represent to you The protective order docket 7 protects plaintiff's legal name. That's why she's proceeding under a pseudonym, Jane Doe. And I'm going to mark this deposition transcript confidential because I believe at one point you did mention her legal name and there are other confidential things. But for the time being, I want this deposition to be marked confidential. On October 29, 2025, you posted on X a photo of plaintiff and her spouse, and you identified the spouse by her legal name, correct? Do you see that now? Yes. And what was the date of the post on X? October 29, 2025. And you state Pixie's spouse's full legal name, correct? I think that that is the one she had listed on her social media. So if that's correct, then yes. But I don't know that for sure. Is her social media? Yeah, that's where I got the name from. And you state that you realize that Pixie committed green card marriage fraud with her in order to get her citizenship in the U.S. Do you see that? I see that, yes. That I tweeted that, yeah. Do you have any basis to say that? It seemed to me like it was a fraudulent relationship. She asked me about stuff that was about green cards in the past. I figured out through social media posts that I saw of her wife that they were married. I don't think she was ever mentioned being married to this person ever. It seemed to be probably a fraudulent marriage. Okay, so in other words, Destiny accuses people of having fraudulent marriages. And the reason is, according to him, because they're not publicizing their marriage on social media. So he believes that he should be able to dox people because of them being on social media, not openly saying what their relationship status is. That was evidence of it being fraudulent, which I just want to say something, chat. No, it's not. No, it absolutely is not. You try to keep things private is not a basis for your marriage being fraudulent. The social media psychos have no right to know whether you're married or not. It's not their business. Yeah, it seemed weird that she secretly married a girl that I didn't even know she was bisexual, and I have never seen any of this stuff publicly. Felt like there were pictures buried on social media probably for a green card interview. That was just my assumption at the time. I mean, I don't even see any other people besides the dog in the picture, so it could be pretty secretive to me. So you are just speculating that it was green card marriage fraud, and you publish that on X to all of your followers. How many views are on there? Objection. I object to the question to the extent it misstates testimony that he's speculating. He gave you a reason for why. So his reason for believing that it's marriage fraud is that she didn't publicize it widely on her public social media. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that that would not be considered sufficient. He's making a factual statement that she violated the law. That is basic fucking defamation. He would lose horribly. How many views did this post get? If you know, you can answer. At the bottom, I see 546,200 views. And then a few hours after that rather malicious post, you posted again on X, a repost of someone else's post that included a link to ICE. Do you recall that? I probably did, I think, for the retweet. I would have to see the post. We'll mark that as the next exhibit. Is this the post you made? The one I retweeted, I think? Yes. From Myron Gaines, yeah? And what does it say there on the retweet? It's a picture of two video game characters and a Warhawk in a video game vehicle. And what does it say? Are you asking what Myron Gaines, the tweet beneath, says? Yes. Yes, that you reposted. Yes. Did someone say marriage fraud? It would be a shame for someone to click this link and then it's an ice.gov link or dial this number and there is a number afterwards. What was your purpose for reposting that tweet? I thought it was funny. You thought it was funny? I thought it was funny. What part of that is humorous? The eye emojis that Myron Gaines put in his message. That part is funny. Do you think it's funny to tell all your viewers that they should be contacting ICE to go after? Objection. That completely misstates the document, and it's not what the witness has testified to, but you can answer. I think the tweet was funny. I think my picture was funny. To the extent that I'm saying anything is funny, these are the two things I'm saying are funny. What do you think the reaction would be, Mr. Bonnell? Calls for speculation. Objection. Don't guess what the reaction might have been. She could ask her own client. I'm asking him what he thinks. Don't guess. And you may answer. Don't guess. I can't know. I have no idea. So basically, Destiny was trying to get people to falsely file claims to ICE about there being a fraudulent marriage, presumably to get these people in legal trouble, presumably to get their green card application denied, presumably to get some sort of legal sanction. Again, do you think Destiny cares about the propriety of green cards? This was him attempting to use Donald Trump's fascist ICE to go after an enemy that he wronged by showing their pornographic material they shared with him in confidence to third parties and then it leaking all over the internet when he tried to send it to an underage girl. You don't think this would be upsetting? Don't guess. Did you do this to harass a plaintiff? That you can answer. Is that why you posted harass her? No, both of us have been making public commentary related to our case. I think this was after she publicly accused me of being a pedophile. So I'm making public tweets as well. I think we're just having a row back and forth at each other. So you think it's been a mutual back and forth? Absolutely, yeah. And then more recently, this is back in October, sometimes in October, I believe you told food shops when this case is over, you'd be filing a complaint to try and begin the process of getting the plaintiff's spouse deported. Do you remember that? I don't remember specifically making that statement, but I generally remember it. So why would you wait for the case to be over before doing that? I don't think I could say insofar as that implicates conversations I've had with attorneys. I see. Is it because you didn't want to look bad in front of the jury? No, it's not. That's not entering my mind at all. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is where it really takes the cake. Do you realize you have a legal obligation to verify someone's age before exchanging pornography? Objection to the extent that it calls for a legal conclusion. Otherwise, you can answer. The witness: I'm not aware of that. No. Destiny is saying he doesn't think you need to know how old someone is before you send them porn. Now, when your defense is you shouldn't have to know how old someone is before you send them porn. And remember, it was revenge porn that was not publicly available. It was privately recorded, which he did not get the consent to share. And there was even, and if somebody could find this link for me, he even admitted that he did not have the consent. He did not have the consent of her to share it. How much have you paid Mr. Breitler's firm to defend you in this action? Don't answer that. Don't answer. I instruct you not to answer. That is not a privileged communication, Mr. Breitler. Tell me on what basis you're objecting to that question. Attorney-client privilege. The amount of legal fees is attorney-client privilege. I'm not going to argue with you, Joan. Ask your next question. You should check the law a little better. Again, I don't appreciate your snide remarks. You're completely unprofessional. I really need to tone it down, Joan. Destiny is being drained so badly by this lawsuit, his lawyer doesn't want you to know just how much it is. Why don't you want to advertise your services? So the question becomes like, all right, so Destiny says you don't need to know how old someone is before you send them porn, which, by the way, that's insane. Every adult in American history understands that if you send porn to a minor, you're corrupting a minor, and that's a crime. There is not one person who's 18 years or older who does not understand that that's illegal. Destiny's claiming to not know that you can't send porn to kids. That's his defense, by the way. So let's see if that holds up. Does Destiny know you can't send porn to kids?
Okay, I'm sorry, I said this again. Listen, if you're into if you're a pedophile, okay, I can understand you shouldn't be. But why 17-year-old? Why not just 18-year-olds? Just 1 year, one year later. And it's still creepy, but at least you're in the legal clear. Nobody be talking about you. Why 17-year-olds? Why not just 18-year-olds? Even 16-year-olds? Why not just 18-year-olds? You're so close to it being legal. You're a celebrity. Just do that.
These are the people who think that politicians should campaign with them and not Hassan Piker and myself. These are the people that are saying that Hassan Piker is bad optics. Now, what's ironic of this is Destiny was caught with someone who was underage. Now, he's trying to argue that actually the person I was sending the porn to wasn't actually the 17-year-old that I was trying to send porn to. It was actually her of-age boyfriend who was, but he believed when he was sending the revenge porn without the consent of the person that it was this person who is underage. So he was attempting to share porn with an underage person. Legal, factual impossibility is not a defense. I need you guys to understand this. In the law, factual impossibility is not a defense. If I get a gun and I grab it and I take the gun and I put it to your forehead and I pull the trigger and I intend to kill you, but the fucking the bullet inside the chamber does not have a primer or doesn't have a firing pin, I still attempted to commit murder. I still have formed the requisite legal actions to be convicted of attempted murder. Even though factually the bullet could never fire, I still committed attempted murder. And so when he attempted to send revenge porn to an underage person, The fact that it was actually being intercepted by a third party that he didn't know about is immaterial. He attempted to do it. He tried to do it. He had the mens rea, and he took an actus reus. And that is sufficient to form intent. Intent plus action equals sufficiency. Factual possibility is not a defense.
You know what would be the ultimate? Here's something that I'll say. I know this is 100% true. Guaranteed. Here you go. This isn't even a hot take. This is an antimatter thermonuclear bomb, okay? It's freezing everything it touches. Because
and by the way, in case you think that I'm just saying shit, let me bring up Cornell Law School talking about impossibility. Under criminal law, impossibility is a defense in some jurisdiction which can remove liability for certain attempted crimes. Factual impossibility, or the inability to complete a crime due to non-existent factual circumstance, does not function as a defense. Legal impossibility, or the belief that one's actions are a crime when they actually are not, does function as a defense. And so that's the only impossibility where it can. But factual impossibility is not a defense. Okay, is that clear? Is that clear? And when they say non-existent factual circumstance, like the non-existence of the primer, the non-existence of the firing pin, whatever, that is still attempted murder. Make sense? Crystal clear as could be. I'm not just saying shit. I'm not Destiny.
Hold this take.
I'm dumb. Can you make it simpler? I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. I don't know how. I've dumbed it down as dumb as I can make it. I've dumbed it down as much as I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't make it any dumber. I can't. Goo goo gaga. Gaga goo goo.
Okay. I guarantee you that every single celebrity that is at least a C-list celebrity has gotten multiple
100%.
DMs from underage girls. Guarantee. The fact that like people act like this is so surprising and so shocking and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Guarantee you that all
right. Even if that's the case, let's say, for example, that is the case. The difference is, Destiny, they don't then take those DMs, share them with their friends, and say, "Ooh, man, I'm gonna go to jail one day from all the jailbait." That's what you did, okay? They didn't go on Twitter and solicit pictures of someone when they were 12 and then say how sexy they were in replies. That's something you did. If somebody receives a picture, unsolicited picture from an underage person, and they delete and report, that's called being normal. But bragging about it, sending pictures to friends, saying how you're struggling to stay out of prison, that is what you did. That's what makes you a fucking weirdo and a freak that people don't like.
all of these guys get fucking DMs from fucking underage. Guaranteed. 100%. Have you? Yeah, of course. Sometimes people DM me and it's like,
legal impossibility is a criminal law defense. It happens when a person tries to commit a crime, but their acts do not break any law, even if that person thinks they're doing illegal. It differs from factual impossibility, where a hidden physical fact stops the crime. And the hidden physical fact in the example I gave you of grabbing a gun, putting it to someone's head and pulling the trigger was the lack of the primer in the bullet, so the bullet doesn't fire, or the lack of a firing pin, so the bullet doesn't fire. You have still committed all of the elements of attempted murder. You have, you have completed an attempt, and you formed the requisite mens rea, which is the mental state of criminal depravity, where you form the specific intent to commit the murder. So that makes attempted murder. You're still guilty of it, even though you couldn't have done it with that gun. That makes sense? That's the legal impossibility. So when you try to send revenge porn to an underage kid, and it turns out, well, actually you were sending it to someone who was catfishing as them, you still formed the attempt to share that porn with the underage child. You've still done the criminal act. You still formed the depraved mental state.
oh, I always ask someone, how old are you? And sometimes like, oh, I'm 16. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, look me up in 3 years. Black. I'm not getting baited by any of that shit. Because I know some of you motherfuckers are out there trying to catch me, okay? I'm too smart for you. Don't even try it. Isn't the problem that he was the one that started the DMs? Oh, maybe. I don't know. Regardless. I mean, if he started the DMs, it's even so fucking stupid. Honestly, I really wouldn't rule out that 17-year-old girls could have lied about their age or generally put it off to an older guy. Okay, but like, look at the fucking girl's Instagram. Does she have pictures of her graduating high school? Or does she have pictures of her like on the fucking junior softball team or some shit? It should be pretty easy looking at somebody's Instagram to find out. And if you're a celebrity, you should probably be playing it like pretty safe anyway, right? Like, I'm at a stage in my life where I try to err on the side of caution. Like, there have been girls that have messaged me that have said, like, they're 19 or 20 or whatever, and then I looked at their Instagram and was like, oh, I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna stop talking to you because I'm not even gonna fuck. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, if you have pictures of a girl getting on a fucking school bus, okay, and the date of this fucking picture is like 2017, maybe you should back off a little bit, okay? Maybe we should apply a little bit of common sense, all right? And maybe, like, calm the fuck down. I don't know. Like, you're just like, why would you even ride that line? Why would you be so, why would you, Jesus Christ, okay?
And getting to the revenge porn shit, here's Destiny in court. She wasn't aware that you shared the video with anyone else, was she? Objection, calls for speculation. I don't think she was specifically aware, but again, we usually didn't mention specific people. Well, did you tell her you shared the video with Rose? Not specifically, no, but again, it was a general agreement. But again, you didn't tell her that and she was not aware of it, right? Objection, asked and answered. You could answer it one more time. I would have said at the hotel, we made that agreement, yes. That you could share with Rose? No. That we had a general agreement. Regarding her message at 9:06, it begins with, I need to know if you sent our videos to anyone or if you sent anything beyond the BJ one. It reads to me like she was aware that we had some agreement that she could send videos to partners, but specific names were never mentioned. Witness C here replies to the original question of whether you had Pixie's permission to share the videos she was in. Your non-answer to this is kind of worrisome. Oh, no, LOL. I seriously doubt it. We took some vids, but did discuss it. I doubt she's okay with it. Jesus. What are you up to right now? Just laying here. So Destiny admits in DMs that he did not have the permission to share the video. Again, this is in court documents. On November 29, 2024, immediately after the solo leaks, defendant exchanged messages with an individual named blank blank, wrote, is Pixie okay? Have you spoken to her? I'm assuming she'd okay you sharing videos of her like that. Defendant responded, oh no, LOL. I seriously doubt it. We took some vids, but did discuss it. I doubt she's okay with it. This exchange is responsive to plaintiff's request, bears directly on the issue of consent, and has never been produced. Defendant authored and possessed these communications at all relevant times. His failure to produce them cannot be characterized as inadvertent. Accordingly, plaintiff demands the defendant by August 10th produce both documents in native format with all associated metadata. So in other words, Destiny is being accused of spoliation, which is when you destroy evidence that you're legally obligated to share. And if you destroy evidence that you're legally obligated to share, the penalty is that the evidence is assumed to prove the point that the party was accusing you of. So spoiling evidence is just saying, oh, well, nope, it proved the entire point of what I destroyed. It is and furthermore, it can cause you to get more liabilities, including sanctions for you and your attorney. It's just an oopsie doopsies. This has been released as part of a sanctions motion by the person suing Destiny, accusing him of destroying material evidence. And like, ladies and gentlemen, this is Destiny in a nutshell, which is he's a narcissist, he's an egomaniac. And the thing about the legal system is that it proceeds very slowly. So you can maintain your delusions for a really, really long time about how you could be a debate pervert and you could debate yourself out of it. And until all of a sudden the consequences finally hit. If anyone wants to bet me that Destiny wins this case or gets it dismissed, he's not going to win. The only argument that I've heard that Destiny has is that the law against sexual cyber harassment was passed after he started sending this shit to people, right? Like, that's the only argument he has. The argument he has is it's an ex post facto law where he was doing it and he's dead guilty, but some of it wasn't illegal in Florida yet when he did it. That's his only legal argument that I think has any merit at all. Would I bet money? It looks like somebody else is trying to take you up on that. He has a fairly strong chance of winning. It doesn't mean he did do what he's accused of. The statute wasn't likely in effect during transmission. He did retransmit, didn't he? Didn't he transmit a number of times to different people? Each time he transmitted, that was another act. Hey, Kiltonics, what's up? I mean, I don't know all the details of every single time he sent the revenge porn to every single person. I think that's part of what he's destroyed, right? Some of the evidence that he's destroyed is like him transmitting it to other people. Yet he said it to other users, including Darius' ex-girlfriend Abby and his own ex-girlfriend, who I can't say her name because it's protected. Yeah, but it's a question of whether they could get credible testimony admitted. I mean, if it were me, like, I would be issuing subpoenas to all the people. You know what I mean? Like, I would hire a private investigator. I would subpoena all these people. You know, who gives a shit? These bridges are burned. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Yeah, like this is a predator. Like, what are we doing? Again, you know, I've shared this opinion about legal strategy before. I don't believe that you should play nice with predators. Doesn't the judge issue subpoenas? Basically, the court issues subpoenas, but sides request them in order to be able to gather their evidence. God, what's going on with these fucking earbuds? I swear to fucking God. All right, whatever. Except my cat, he's a predator, but so cute. Yeah. Anyone who doesn't know much about Destiny should listen to the reaction podcast episode of him. So true. So fucking true. All right, what else? Hold on. We have to. There's more links. Description of a. Okay, so I guess DGGers are trying to DMCA. That's so funny. I want you guys to know that these people insult other people's appearance. Mr. Mooten could play Pat. Like, if we took him to New York City and we said, we're going to do the revival of the Pat skit, Mr. Mooten could fit right in. Like, bro, I've never seen a jawline like that. I have, yeah, exactly. Control Saw, this is it. Holy shit, I've never seen a jawline like that. How are you this thin with a neck like that? Like, the guy, he doesn't seem to have much of a gut. How is his neck like this? Goiter Maxic, bro, go get yourself checked. This guy's got... He's got the same disease as Henry VIII. Motherfucker has caught mumps. Jesus. And then Destiny looks like... he looks like the guy who gets called a loser in, what's the movie called? Fuck. Glengarry Glen Ross. Oh, here he goes.
Close or you hit the bricks. Decision. Have you made... B, C. A, always B, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing. AIDA. Attention, interest, decision, action. Attention. Do I have your attention? Interest. Are you interested? I know you are, because it's fuck or walk. You close or you hit the bricks. Decision. Have you made your decision for Christ? An action. AIDA. Get out there. You got the prospects coming in. You think they came in to get out of the rain? A guy don't walk on the lot lest he wants to buy. Sitting out there waiting to give you their money. Are you gonna take it? Are you man enough to take it?
He's got the same... Oh, he's such a good actor, dude. He's got the, like, watery eyes. You know, he's about to cry. God, he's such a good actor, dude. Where's the Destiny photo again? I really need to sort this better. Oh, there it is. Okay. Same watery eyes. Same hairline.
Incredible. What's the problem, pal? You, Moss.
You're such a hero. You're so rich. How come you're coming down here and waste your time with such a bunch of bums?
You see this watch? You see this watch?
Yeah.
That watch costs more than your car. I made $970,000 last year. How much you make? You see, pal, that's who I am, and you're nothing. Nice guy? I don't give a shit. Good father? Fuck you. Go home and play with your kids. You want to work here?
This is the average boomer mentality, by the way.
Close. You think this is abuse? You think this is abuse, you cocksucker? You can't take this. How can you take the abuse you get on a sit? You don't like it? Leave. I can go out there tonight. The materials you got make myself $15,000. Tonight, in 2 hours, can you? Can you? Go and do likewise. AIDA. Get mad, you son of a bitches. Get mad. You know what it takes to...
Okay, sorry. I got locked into the Glengarry Glen Ross rant, which is one of the all-time classics of cinema. So apparently Destiny is also taking money from Polymarket. And the thing about Destiny is there's only one group of people that hates Destiny's fans more than me. And that group of people are Destiny and his inner circle. They despise their fans. And if you've ever seen a Destiny fan, you would also hate them. So basically everybody of merit has left Destiny's community. Anybody who has kind of self-respect or prestige or knows anything, they've kind of left this fucking loser's community. He's a sex pest. He's a freak. He doesn't know anything. And everything he's argued as far as where politics is going has been proven definitively wrong. The guy is, to put a fine point on it, a fucking loser creep. And so he has absolutely no problem robbing his community blind. Now, he's done this before, and this was really funny. But when do you guys remember NFTs? Remember the NFT scam where Twitter was trying to push NFTs and everybody was doing these non-fungible tokens, these ugly ass GIFs, the monkey pictures and shit? Everybody who had any kind of sense was calling that a scam, right? Everybody was calling that a scam. And then what ended up happening? Destiny called it a scam too, repeating everybody else's takes. And then 2 days later, he joined with an NFT startup to run the scam on his own community, where they would buy the NFTs of his clips. So 2 days before he had called it a scam, and 2 days later, he was taking their money to sell NFTs of his clips. And now he's trying to push his community into Polymarket and Kalshi and all of these scammy gambling sites that have absolutely no value whatsoever. They don't predict shit. They don't know what's gonna happen. It's a conventional wisdom repeater. And they have made massive errors just in the last 2 weeks about various elections. You know, the election up in Wisconsin with Francesca Hong. And then they made the same mistake down in Florida with Angie Nixon and Alexander Vindman. These things don't know anything. They don't have any extra information. They're fucking useless.
Destiny finally came. It took him a while, but he finally drummed up a response for us. Absolutely.
I didn't even see this shit.
Over just calling him out, saying he's gotten so desperate for cash, he's now doing sponsored tweets for Polymarket. And he says, quote, gotten so desperate, he's doing that thing YouTubers do to make money. What? Bro, if you cover politics for a living and you want people to think you're genuine, you ought to not scam them for money.
Again, there's a scale of morality when it comes to ad reads, as you mentioned. Like, you know, I was watching Jon Stewart the other day. He was doing an ad read for like Ground News, you know, this like supposedly neutral news, you know, company that you can go and see how fair the news is or what. Like, I don't use that shit, but it's whatever. I don't think it's like the worst thing ever to recommend to people. Some people probably could benefit from using a website like Ground News as a platform instead of fucking X or something. So, you know, I can let that go. But when it comes to Polymarket, yeah, that's completely immoral. That's like, you know, selling your audience cigarettes or, right, you know, some addictive product, quite literally, that could ruin their life, that could ruin their financial situation, that takes advantage of vulnerable people, aka people that, you know, aren't as intellectually sophisticated, that don't really understand that, yeah, you're most likely going to lose your fucking money when you gamble. And yeah, Polymarket's no different than going to a casino.
Yep, exactly. And you can tell, Gavin, when we look at the responses to this is Destiny trying to own us. Now, we don't have to tell you guys that Destiny's fans, everybody who watches Destiny, they fucking hate the Vanguard, right? Every time we do a video where we have somebody like Peace go on, or we're debating Hutch, like, they fucking hate us, right? They come out of their skin. We make them so angry, okay? But they kind of agree with us that it's cringy as hell for Destiny to be promoting Polymarket. Here you go. This is legitimately disappointing. I've been a fan for 10 plus years, and one thing I always respect.
Yep, they have entire scripts like this in their Discord. Let's say in a Bizarro universe, I don't agree with my career. I would invest this much time trying to debate random people. I would just stop arguing and let the case result come out to vindicate me. Destiny requires his community to give him money in order to pay for the lawsuit. So the only thing does he know anything about politics? Is he engaged with any political campaigns? No. The guy knows nothing and he's involved with nothing. So the only way he can keep this going is holding out the hope that it'll all go away and he'll be totally absolved. And then his, you know, I guess centrism will rise with him, his epic debate clips that he posts. And then suddenly it'll be valuable again. So to keep that scam running, he's got to comment on the case. He's got to raise money on the case, because how else is he going to pay for some of the most expensive predator lawyers on the fucking planet? I've never seen Destiny stream other than on your stream. Honestly, victory is mine. Honestly, victory is fucking mine. People are now saying that Destiny is so irrelevant. I only see him on my stream. Oh my God, that's funny.
is you never did gambling sponsorships. I understand at the moment things might be rough and you need to pay the bills, but it doesn't make it any less disappointing. Bro, to be fair, gambling is a bit different from other sponsors. As nonsensical as Vanguard Pod is about most things, I feel they have a point on this one.
This is a hater. As nonsensical as the Vanguard is about most things, they kind of got a point, bro. They kind of got a point, bro. You're literally promoting gambling, which is pretending to be this, like, you know, model for data and analytics of polling and all this crap, when it literally is just gambling.
So all in all, it is what it is. Before we go, I just wanted to show my favorite DGGer, Gremlo. Once a DGGer, always a DGGer. Now, yesterday we showed how he used to repeat the DGG memes attacking me and Frogan. But now, I guess, he's getting really mad that nobody cares that I didn't want to collaborate with him. As if that's like, the rule is you have to forcibly be collaborated with against your will with content creators who hate you and have tried to slander you as anti-Semitic and anti-black. Now, if I legitimately thought someone was anti-Semitic and anti-black, would I try to collaborate with them? Make this make sense.
Probably should have said that you were anti-Semitic. I probably should have said that you were anti-black. I probably should have said that you're a couch-punching misogynist. I probably should have done all that. If I was interested in actually, like, just clout, if I was interested in just views, if I was interested in any of that, I would bring up that old clip of you touching Bad Bunny. I would bring up that shit, but I never bring that shit up until now because
guys, he only brings up the DGG lies. He's only bringing up the DGG lies. And again, all I've said is the reason why I don't like these people is because they come from Destiny and Vosh's community. And when Vosh fell off and they decided to become Hassad orbiters, try to grow their channels, I was nice to them. I let people change their minds. I let people grow. I've always been that way. But I got to tell you, almost every single time I've done it, it has backfired.
Look where we are. Look where we are now. Not Bad Bunny, Boricua. Different one. Different Bad Bunny. Or is it Kira now? I think they might have changed their name. Could have brought up all that shit throughout all this, man. But I've only ever asked, leave me the fuck and my friends alone. Just leave me out of your shit.
I literally tried. And then you posted a drama post dragging in Oliver Larkin, who, again, I believe the first streamer to support, right? And I started 6 months ago when I raised him $15,000. Now, unfortunately, because I supported him, he was called anti-Semitic. The fact that Hassad and I supported him, they called that anti-Semitism. Why? Because you and your friends brought up a clip that had no motion and nobody knew about it and promoted it to DGG and Destiny and Ethan Klein as if it represented some sort of belief system I have that's anti-Semitic. And worst of all, you're such a performative fuck that even though DGG and Destiny Orbiters want to join you in your attacks on me, wishing you all the best against the fat one, Greblo, but your Palestine flag is upside down, bub. This performative white forward DGGer is trying to, dunk on me, call me performative, call me all these things, even though I have the track record of actually using my platform on Twitch, not just for myself and making money like all these guys do, but in actually organizing for real elections and working with Hassan to create a rivalry between this community and his that has helped him raise more money when he brings on candidates. Hassan's most successful fundraisers for candidates are candidates who went on his stream after they came on mine. So anyway, this is the flag of Palestine. I don't know what flag has the green on top. I'm not familiar. But like, the way that they use the DGG slanders, and it really tells you something about these people, is that Destiny has harassed and defamed so many good people at our space. Myself, Frogan, Casey Tron, Denims, Hassan, Caroline. The list goes on and on and on and on of people that have been harassed, doxxed, swatted, slandered, defamed. And he's happy to run to those people and grab up their smears and slanders about me. Oh, United Arab Emirates. Thank you. Thank you, Buta. That's right. Thank you. I didn't know. You're right. I forgot. You're right. It is the United Arab Emirates. Anyway, thank you. He's happy to run and grab at them and support them when it helps him in his fight. That is called being unprincipled. That's called being exactly what I said you were. Willing to work with Destiny, willing to work with DGG, willing to work with Zionists to attack other leftists because your stream isn't doing as well as you want it after I condemned you for doing this the first time. And the thing that really bothers me, the thing that's really gross, and this is why I don't fuck with these people, is when I got banned for that clip, right? That they dug up and promoted to everybody without coming to me first, without attempting to say, hey, we found this. It kind of bothered me. Would you talk to me about it? They ran to post it as wide as possible, promoted it to all the worst people, joined with the Zionists who are trying to deplatform pro-Palestine voices. They made it public. They got me banned. They went into other chats saying about how nothing of value was lost and you can't wreck a Twitch chat and all that shit to try to like harm my community. I came back and I listened to my community and I put together an apology where I talked about all the clips that they were using, and I took accountability with you guys, and we had a conversation with it, and I apologized, and they never watched the apology. They said they want accountability. They said they wanted growth, but they didn't watch they spent a week when I was banned and I was muzzled and unable to speak on my own defense. They used that to slander my name, to run around and try to get people to distance themselves from me. And it took Hassan and Caroline defending me before their little coup attempt failed. And when I came back and did my apology, they didn't cover it. They didn't watch it. They buried it. And they still try to use these clips as if they represent what I believe. Denims as well. Yes. And so these are the people, like, I'm sorry, but that shows that your intent is not about the left. It's not about comradeship. It's not about our mutual project, even when we disagree. It's about you weaponizing what people care about to gain and profit for yourself. And that's why people need to know what you are, and they need to disengage because you don't give a fuck about comradeship, the movement, socialism, pro-Palestine shit. You're too lazy. You can't even research what a Palestinian flag looks like before you performatively put it on your microphone. At the end of the day, all I've wanted was people to acknowledge their mistakes, apologize, attempt to reconcile, treat each other with good faith, treat each other like comrades, call each other in instead of calling each other out, stop using the social media call out culture to aggrandize yourself and promote yourself, but rather for all of us to work in concert. And the thing that galls me the most is that I invited these people to my home. I spoke kindly of them to my community. I walked them around at TwitchCon when they went to their first Twitch partner parties. And they've exposed private details about me and Vio that we intentionally kept quiet in order to protect ourselves from the harassment, from the doxing, from all the stuff that happens to people. And they broke that confidence. And then even worse, to attack me on Wednesday, he broke the confidence of Oliver Larkin's campaign when Oliver Larkin's campaign said, hey, we don't want to be involved in any drama, so that they could smear me as not supportive enough of Oliver Larkin. That is ridiculous. And ultimately, you know, I don't like to talk about metrics, right? Because I think that's tawdry. I think it's cheap. Metrics are just one way to measure a community's success, right? One way to look and do a sanity check and say to yourself, hey, are people responding to what you're doing? Is your content working? And, you know, when October 7th happened, that hurt my community. I was having some good growth, and then I went down because of my pro-Palestinian advocacy. And then I fought on behalf of the right side of a lot of issues, and I've seen growth from that, from my constructive effort, and try to turn Twitch into something that can continue to grow. And here's the thing. When I defend myself, when I try to protect myself from harassment, from slander, When I stand on my own 2 feet and say, hey, I'm not going to work with someone who has ill intent, who's worked with these really evil groups in the past, and at the slightest propagation is happy to go and join forces with them. I saw people actually leave the community. But thankfully, those people are small in number. I've been lurking and chilling in his stream for months. A few things got my eyebrows raised. He stayed me, rubbed me the wrong way, and he brought me here. I feel like you must really have a valid reason to not want to work with him besides being petty. I've been here since the start of the stream, and I'm glad I decided to give you a shot. I followed you because of my queen, Caroline. Hell yeah. Thank you, Sarah. Caroline and I are friends. And honestly, I admire her as one of the most important content creators on Twitch. Demonstrating that Twitch can be a place for women of color, where we can create content that inspires us, where we have somebody of stature who's not a fucking loser, who is socially conscious while also creating their own art. Like, honestly, the quintessential idea of what an artist should be, that's Caroline. And, you know, as I've said, my community has continued to perform well. It's continued to grow. And yes, when I got banned, and you can see when I got banned, because I am a consistent streamer, right? I am a very consistent streamer. But then when they got me banned, there it is. There's that nice little week off, August of 2025. You see how that was like one of my worst months? I lost 200 followers net for the month. And that was the goal. That was the goal. And it really grosses me out. You know, and I don't know what else to say. Is all I wanted was for all of us to work together. I tried to cultivate that. I reached out to almost all the people that have went after me. I tried to cultivate something. Maybe it's something about my personality rubs people the wrong way. You know, I'm not going to be friends with everybody, but I try to be supportive. And I like to see people grow, like Maple Takes, like Sad Girl, like Caroline, like Denims. All these people, and of course, most importantly, the person that needs to grow more than everyone else, Vio. I've always been supportive. I like to see people's numbers grow up. Struggle 4. I like to see other leftist content creators. That's why I'm a founder badge on Live Agar and a founder badge on Frogan. I've always been someone who tries to support and grow other content creators. And it's, you know, it is what it is. You know, I've been trying to make this community something that could be a resource for socialist politics in America. We've raised well over 100,000, I think it's like $150,000 for various left-wing candidates this cycle. That's money that this community is giving. I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm not hired. I'm not paid. It is purely altruistic. I'm lucky if I get a thank you card. So anyway, if, you know, that's just me speaking my piece. I don't, you know, ultimately, I would like these people to just grow the fuck up and maybe get some help. And that reminds me, I just wanted to make a statement. Vio told me last night that Rhizome had sent her a really heartfelt apology, including for his actions he had done earlier in the day, and that he had realized that her perspective was correct and that he had been trapped into a kind of echo chamber, and that he was totally wrong in the way that he had acted and the way he had contributed. And so I wanted to call him out as somebody who actually did what I wanted them to do, which is reach out, apologize for what was over the line, and let's grow and heal together. And I think Vio is going to be streaming later. She'll be talking about it. And so, you know, if you want to learn more about all these details, I'll be sending you guys over to that after this stream. Anyway, long story short, I don't know why these guys blew up their own spots. I don't know why they felt like me disagreeing with them on Zora Mamdani or on the value of Claire Valdez or Donovan McKinney or Oliver Larkin or Francesca Hong or the myriad other campaigns we've supported on this stream. Why that was something that didn't matter. And it bothers me. It really sucks. It really sucks because I tried to mend fences, even though I knew that he had friends with people that had harassed me in the past, that they were in his inner circle, a bunch of like small, creepy streamers who had like harassed me and my family. I looked past it as like, well, maybe he just didn't know. But turns out that, you know, when we met and the vibes were off, it's because he had hostility for me in his heart, you know, and it sucks. It is what it is. Does this mean you're fine with Rhizome now? No, I'm not saying anything definitively. I'm just acknowledging that there has been an attempt for growth, and I wanted to acknowledge that, and we'll see how it goes, right? I think a single typed apology is not necessarily enough to repair the harm that you've done. We've got to see how it proceeds. But I wanted to give credit where credit was due. You know what I mean? The door has now been opened, and that's a good thing. And I want to say that's a good thing. I don't want to be like, oh my God, somebody finally said something nice. I forgive them for everything, because I don't think that would be fair to me. I don't think that would be fair to Vio. I don't think that would be fair to the community. I think there has to be a reparation of harm. You have to go out of your way to correct and start a new era. And it has to be persistent. It has to show continual actions and remorse and contrition and for lack of a better word, penance, right? If you do harm, you've got to fix it. You can't just like do harm, say I'm sorry out of the corner of your mouth, and then it be done. You have to hold space and correct and repair, patch up the holes, you know? And I think that he's doing that. So that's a good thing. And I want to encourage it. I'm not trying to bully the guy. You know, that's the last thing I want. I think that we're on a good path. All right. Well, that's the drama section of the stream. The drama section of the stream has been completed. And now it's time for us to celebrate yet another AIPAC L.
Congratulations to Aisha Wahab. I am fortunate enough to have helped carry her across the finish line. She won 53% of the vote against the 47% coming for Melissa Hernandez. This was another devastating blow to AIPAC. AIPAC dumped, I believe, $6 million into this race.
Is it Rhizome, they, them? Yeah. Oh, I think they're any all, right? I think Rhizome is any all with their pronouns, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, or $5 million into this race. Another W for us. It is insane. It is crazy to me. Is she a Democratic Socialist? She's a good progressive? No, she's just a progressive. She's not a Democratic Socialist. She is a progressive that is critical of Israel, very critical of Israel. And the thing is, it was one of those instances where like party bosses in California wanted to clear the runway. This was Eric Swalwell's seat, and they wanted to put up a senior Democrat in this district, but she was intending to run in this district anyway. So the Aisha Wahab story is very interesting. So she's very popular. She's a real fighter. She has a lot of experience in this district and in the state legislature. And the Democratic Party machine comes in and says, Eric Swalwell's out. We want to put our own person here. She says, fuck that. I'm running for the seat, and I'm not going to stop just because you want an older person with seniority to get this appointment. The party did not like that at all. There was a lot of drama here. California state senator, yeah, she decided, no, we're going to do democracy. You can't stop it. So when she ran in the first election, she got like 60% of the vote, right? No one cares about that race. Well, you know who cared about it? The Israel lobby did. So don't come to me and then fucking be like, oh, why is this like random dumbass, like very clearly Republican in the state legislature? How does this happen? How does a person who is like very clearly a Republican, you know, run in these districts and win these seats? This is how it happens, because none of you dumb fucks give a shit. You guys think you're above it. You think it's like irrelevant. You think it doesn't matter. AIPAC did not want someone who is an Israel critical candidate to win another congressional district. And they put $6.3 million in mailers and negative ads beginning August 3rd. Do you understand? $6.3 million in 1 month, less than a month, for a fucking House seat. So while your dumbass doesn't care about this shit, clearly California politics is terrified. Do you understand? This is an unprecedented barrage. She has to win again in November, but this is going to make her chances far better, far easier. You understand? The fact that they dumped $6.3 million into this race now was because they didn't want to they didn't want to have to deal with it in November. And now they're going to have to deal with it in November as well. Expanded to each of the 435 districts, that would be the equivalent of $2.74 billion. And while AIPAC has seemingly unlimited money, they don't actually have unlimited money. And it's not just 6.3 over the course of like an entire race that spans across a year. This is a special election where they put down $6.3 million in 17 days. 17 fucking days. I don't think you guys understand how psychotic that is. Much tighter margin than her 21-point win over Hernandez in June 2nd primary and her 26-point win in June 26th special election primary. They were able to close the gap from 26 points to first 21 points, and then now down to 6 points. That's how much money plays a role.
Grandma has previously reached out to you to mend fences, did not hear from you. He was not bashing you, just finalized his comment to move to a different topic. He was being respectful, even though he acknowledged that you still have a wedge between you. He has absolutely never done that. As I said before, when I got banned and they could pummel me and they could treat me like I was some sort of, but I was defenseless, but I was being attacked by Asmongold, Ethan Klein, but various pro-genocide and pro-Israel forces, and I got deplatformed, and they were the ones who provided the source material for that entire thing. They were going around and pummeling me as some sort of super problematic guy. And then when I came back and apologized, they didn't give a shit. And they never commented on it or watched it or in any way showed any support whatsoever. They tried to knife me in the back. It failed. And then they tried to go back to normal as if I'm stupid or something. Can you imagine if I had a clip of Hassan from, say, like way back in the day from Bro Tips that looked really bad, and then I posted it and I was like, at Hassan, you have really got to speak for these old posts. They are showing some serious transphobia and some serious misogyny, and honestly I think you make our space unsafe. And you know what I mean? Can you imagine if I did something like that, how everybody would feel if it got Hassan banned for 7 days? He called Mike a fat 50-year-old man. Yeah, exactly. Also, yeah, that I'm fat. I'm sorry I'm not 5'2". I weigh 170 pounds. I'm sorry I'm not 5'2". I guess that's everyone's fat when you're 5'2". Anyone with a working brain knew the Bro Tips vid was complete satire. Exactly. Exactly, which is why I would never do that. If I came across a clip of Hassan that I thought looked bad that no one was aware of, I would not show it on my stream and then post about it and then when Ethan Klein and Destiny are reposting it and it's going viral in Asmongold subreddit, I wouldn't be like, well, nothing of value was lost. You can't wreck a Twitch like they did. And the fact that they think it's okay to do that is fucking insane. And the fact that they've trained their community to think that's okay is all the signs I need to know that they are wrecker communities, that they're opportunistic, that they don't believe in what we're trying to accomplish here, and I want nothing to do with them. He said that your 50 and Vio is in her mid-20s. That is not correct. That is not correct. In fact, if you have a clip of that, I would like to sue him. Because that's a factual statement that he's trying to use to make it seem like our relationship is creepy because I'm in my early 40s and she's in her mid 30s. Oh my God, is that a problematic age gap? Problematic age gap. Early 40s with mid 30s. Problematic age gap. We getting litigious. Well, I mean, listen, I don't think you should call people pedophiles or try to apply weird shit about them, you know, especially when you have glass houses, Greblo.
That's also part of the reason why these motherfuckers hate my ass.
Mike, I'm just learning today that Vio is your partner. I mean, yes, because I try to keep those kind of things. I keep my private life private, you know, because ultimately, whenever you are a big, left-wing figure, your partner is going to be attacked, especially if they don't have a very large platform themselves. So, Hassan keeps his private life private. I try to keep my private life private. Did you see how Hassan's brother was attacked just in the news like a couple days ago? So whenever somebody is like breaking that, and everybody on the left knows that. If somebody wants to keep their private life private, you don't comment on it. You don't go after them. It's none of your business. What? They went after Barat? Yes.
Because no matter how rich you are, at the end of the day, $6.3 million for such a short period of time still got a fucking sting. It's not like they're hiding this. Like, they're doing it openly. They're doing it out in the fucking open. They're doing it out in the open. They're like, nope, even a special election for one district in
Excuse
the
me.
country out of 435 in the House of Representatives is a bridge too goddamn far. It's just mind-boggling, man. The amount of fucking money they spend. It's crazy. Is this another win on your scoreboard? Yes. Put that W on the leaderboard. Yo, can you DM AIPAC and be like, how about a truce? No. What is this? Aisha is out in the community all the time. Melissa comes from the rich ass community on the other side of our hills. Anyway, I don't understand what the fuck these guys are doing, but I just need you to understand we're going to continue fighting. Okay? We're going to continue fighting no matter what.
We just keep winning, folks. Meanwhile, in New York City, they're living in fucking... Oh, by the way, chat, when you give sub... Holy shit! Cobb Like a Tom has gotten 4 bonus subs because I'm now broadcasting in Twitch's dual format. Every time you gift 5 subs, you get a free bonus sub, which basically makes Twitch's cut go nearly to 0. So right now, there's no better time than right now to support the community by subscribing, because we're getting bonus subs. Every time you gift more than 5 subs, for every tranche of 5, I get an additional free sub. Hell yeah. Evan Devs, thank you for the 6. So dear friends, it gives me great pleasure to welcome everyone to the Javits Center for Anime NYC. As a global hub of media and entertainment, New York is delighted to once again host this exciting convention, which brings together thousands of industry professionals and fans for a showcase of the latest in the arts of anime and manga, featuring cosplay. Oh no. I need to swear less. The 50s, 20s timestamp. Okay, hold on. We gotta We're breaking away from Zorod just for one final Gremlo post. See if this guy seems like a good guy to you.
I think that's pretty fucking predatory. If I'm gonna be 100% real with you, I think that a 50-year-old man diverting attention away from him to his 20-something-year-old partner is kind of fucking weird. Because I can have these two conversations separately, but why is it that whenever I'm...
All right. All right, bro. Like, again, the thing about them is they think they could, like, lay a glove on me by being freaks. Like the DGGers that they are, you know? They think they can lay a glove on me by, A, highlighting my relationship, which, again, it's not that it's a secret. It's just I try to keep it more on the private side to help avoid the weird... Like, I don't want people to... Like, I don't post about it on Twitter because I have a lot of non-fans that are on my Twitter. Most of my haters don't watch my stream ever. He said this in the stream that me bringing up misogyny against Vio was using Vio as a shield. It was misogynistic in itself, insane, in that very stream. Little Bear. It's just a way he's violating my consent one more time, right? Like, he was trusted with the knowledge of Vio as my partner, not as some super secret, but as something that's just like, hey, we're in a relationship. We don't really talk about it on most of our social media because I've tried to protect her from the like psychos, like the Destiny people and as they have exposed us, Destiny people have been harassing Vio. Mike is 50. No, I'm in my early 40s. And the Destiny freaks started to harass Vio. And I didn't really talk about it because I don't want you guys to run in those, you know, Twitter threads and then reply to them and get them boosted in the algorithm. So whenever somebody's a freak and they harass Vio, I just block. You know, I just block freaks. And like, it's fucking weird, man. Check out LB's coverage of this. Is that just the full VOD? Okay, maybe later. And it's just like, I know you're not, like, they can't affect me. Like, obviously, if I've been dealing with harassment from Ethan Klein, Destiny, Asmongold, and various other far-right chuds for a decade now, I don't think Gremlo can affect me. Like, that's the other thing. Like, the gall of this guy to think that he's going to be the harasser that finally breaks me by, again, breaking the trust and confidence that he was given and making our relationship part of his fight against me. What a fucking weirdo, man. Why did he wade back into this ego? Oh, the answer is Oliver Larkin asked me to do a collab with him, and I said I'm not interested in doing a collab with him. They're free to like work with him if they want, but I will not participate in a collab with him. You know, like I didn't say like you could never do anything with Gremlo or I will hate you forever. I just said I'm not going to do a collab with him because he has attacked me in the past, and he's one of the people responsible for pushing the idea that I'm anti-Semitic, which has been very damaging to your campaign and my reputation, and I have no interest in ever collaborating with him. You know what I mean? And so, you know, that's what I said. Now, they tried to frame that as Mike refuses to give funds to Oliver Larkin, and that's not the case. I just said I'm not interested in collaborating with him because of the way he's treated me and Vio. It's called boundaries. It's called self-respect.
解如何参加抽签，您还可以免费获得
Mike, how do you... Oh my God, it is 821.
为期2个月的会员资格，享受百老汇演出的折扣。演出现场见。
Oh my God.
你好，我的名字
Happy 821. I forgot. I didn't even notice. The King of Wit, thank you for the 10 tier ones.
Same time
8:21. Here, I'll take one. Mike, it's 2026. Wait, you're right. It was 8:21, 29. Oh my God, has it been 7 years? Oh my God. I wasn't even a partner on Twitch yet. I was only 3 weeks into streaming when this happened. Brain is the first thing to go. Incredible. I wonder if Hassan could still laugh at this. The Ostodox edits, man. The Ostodox edits, man. Fucking crazy. The better version?
Up to what I said about conservatives and progressives, we're having a conversation. So you said America deserved 9/11. Did you mean that?
Yeah.
That was a jump cut, chat. That was a jump cut. That was a jump cut. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. You guys remember Okay Buddy Hassan? We used to have fun. This Louisiana bog monster, dude. Oh yeah, China maxing. The founder of China Evergrande Group and former China's richest man was sentenced to life in prison by a Shenzhen court today. He was convicted of fundraising fraud, illegal deposit taking, securities fraud, and embezzlement. All of his personal assets were seized. Excuse me. I'm getting sick, chat. Vio gave me her disease. I thought that I had conquered her disease, and somehow, like, at the last possible second, she shot me with it. Did you see the trailer for the new Black Myth game? No, I have not. Theo is making me stronger by making me sick. So Hassan went on Ali's show and he missed the meme.
A white nationalist who loves Nazis and has refused to condemn him, that's extreme. She didn't say that. She was consolidating and helping the Democrats by attacking you. Hassan Piker, what's your response?
What gives? That's my response. That's
he doesn't understand the meme.
That's how I feel every time I see my girl Haley. I love Haley Stevens. I'm a Haley Stevens truther. I'm ride or die for Haley. I think if we're being sincere, I think
they're being targeted.
The reality of the matter is, there are talking points
with Nick Fuentes.
Wait a minute. Adam Friedland had. Wait a minute. He had Ann Coulter on his show.
Welcome back. This is the
what? That scarecrow is still alive? I hate this dual screen on mobile though. Sorry, Mike. You could just switch it. You could switch it to the classic format. It's an option.
Final installment of the Lost Episode series. I'm Adam Friedland. This is the Adam Friedland Show. Next week. What's that? Do you feel that?
All right, chat. It's Friday. We gotta have some fun.
Did you feel? I think that we're having an earthquake. Oh my word! I think we're having an earthquake. Guess what? It may feel like an earthquake, but it's not. It's season 3 of the Adam Friedland Show, which is coming out next Wednesday. Guys, give it up for that. We have pre-recorded probably 12 episodes so far. There are a lot more coming. Guys, it's going to be really funny. It's going to be really good. The first episode is my favorite, maybe my favorite episode I've ever done. I really hope you enjoy it. The guest this week is Ann Coulter. She says some fucking terrible things in it. Oh, also, you can see me in Denver. Comedy Works, and the following month I will be at Town Hall for the New York Comedy Festival. Go to adamfreeland.show for tickets. Guys, enjoy our episode with Ann Coulter.
God damn, the lighting is weird, is it not? Am I crazy, or is the lighting fucking off? He's got like a brown filter. Make me want to like drop my gain and become darker. There's no way he's that color.
It's a wild one. Season 3 next week! Big yes! Ladies and gentlemen, legendary media personality, Ann Coulter, everyone. Give it up for her. Let's make some noise. 800.
Ann Coulter may be one of the weirdest motherfuckers from old conservatism. Who here doesn't know who Ann Coulter is? Tacoma Blues, thank you for the 5 because you got me a bonus sub. Okay, Ann Coulter is basically, how do I describe her? How do you describe Ann Coulter? Ann Coulter is a woman who lives the life of a cosmopolitan feminist man-hater, but goes on television and basically just says the most evil shit she could think of while not living according to any of it. She was huge in the 90s. Every conservative thought she was the perfect woman. Socialism or barbarism? Thank you for the 5. I think she dated Bill Maher, did she not? And Dinesh D'Souza.
Tourist from Times Square. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really
Adam.
excited. I told some of my friends, the smart ones, and they were saying this is going to be like the Buckley Baldwin of 2025.
Excellent.
I think we talked on the phone last night.
Yes.
That was charming.
Yeah, no, we're going to be hanging out.
You're like my first white friend in ever, probably.
Excuse me.
No.
Am
I'm
I
just kidding,
hopping on
obviously.
Splatoon today for Splatfest? Is this a bot? Is there a Splatoon bot? Splatfest bot? I always want to let that one live.
All my friends are Jewish. What are you talking about? Okay, 2 things. One is I'd always known you as a media personality. My assumption was always that you were like a poshy. You were like a Connecticut-style, like equestrian kind of poshy. And I was surprised to find out that, like, you know, your father was an Irish cop.
No, he wasn't.
I believe he was, and I believe you were the first in your family to learn.
I don't care. I don't care. Is that old?
Now there she is.
Don't give me that baby listen shit, motherfucker. You think I'm stupid? I know you fucking that bitch, okay? I know you are. I mean, I don't play that shit. And don't play that shit. Rollo, hey, baby.
Hey,
come here, give me some of that sugar, daddy.
You get a little thick back there, ain't you, girl? And how you doing, Abdul?
Damn, Abdul, can you let a bitch work? Shit, one of us has to. It ain't like yo ass is going to get a job. You know I had to bail this motherfucker out of jail again, right? Must be like the 10th time. So anyway, the school board pay you yet?
No. We still waiting. They ain't broke that bread yet. But any day now.
Hey guys, so nice to finally meet. It's been great working with y'all. Hello? That bitch must have lost her mind. I will smack the black off her. I will snatch the weave off that bitch.
Ann
Coulter?
She crazy as hell, ain't she? But she good people, though. She good people.
So this whole time, you guys have been working together?
Yeah, silly. I told you I had it covered.
I'm confused. Me too. I thought Ann Coulter hated everybody.
Who, Ann? No, man. She just do that to get that redneck money. Let me tell you something about Ann. When a nigga need a nemesis, she helps me out, and I help her back. She a down-ass bitch.
These crab cakes are good as a mug. I fucks with these crab cakes. I'm tearing these bad boys up.
So are you even a Republican?
Hell no. You think I like going out there and saying this ridiculous shit?
So then why do it?
'Cause a bitch got books to sell. That's why. Ain't no money in trying to save the world.
We need Ann in makeup.
All I know is they better not stop this war in Iraq or I might have to start stripping.
And in Woodcrest tonight, the school board has finally decided on the fate of an elementary school teacher accused of using the N-word. Third-grade teacher Joe Petto was given 10 days unpaid leave and ordered to take sensitivity training.
What? Oh, man, that's some old bullshit.
That's it? What about my money?
So, what about Rollo Goodlove's demand for financial restitution to the Freeman family?
You mean we did all this for nothing?
Sorry, guys. We tried our best. You'll get him next time. Hey, Abdul, I see you over there talking to that white bitch. You ain't slick.
Wait.
The Boondocks classic.
How to read.
And the first to have shoes. No, my father was not an Irish cop. He's not even fully up.
He was an FBI agent.
He was a corporate lawyer on Park Avenue.
So where
Yes,
where am
for
I getting
a
this
few
from?
years after law school, it was like having a clerkship. You'd go straight and do. You had to be a lawyer to be an FBI agent back then. You don't now. So for a few years, he was a red hunter with the FBI, but he was a lawyer. He was a corporate lawyer.
red hunter
at 300 Park Avenue.
Sounds like an Irish cop to me.
I mean, Irish cops are great. It just isn't what he was.
So he's a red hunter.
He was briefly. Yeah, he worked on some of Joe McCarthy's cases.
Did he know Roy Cohn?
Apparently, but not very well because he was a young pup.
He was a young pup?
Yeah, I mean, he was just gotten out of law school.
Sounds like a gay slang. We got
You've
young
never heard the expression
you have young pups,
pup?
you have otters, you have
Okay, I no longer think you
a
are
young pup.
a
What are you
wordsmith.
talking about?
It's just a common expression, a young pup.
A young pup? Yeah, maybe from freaking Connecticut. Maybe that's a Connecticut thing.
Am I going to be getting that this whole show?
What's wrong? You should be proud.
Anything I
Being
say.
rich is
Okay,
good.
but not everything is a Connecticut thing.
Rich is great compared to the alternative. The alternative is
Oh,
dreck.
yeah, I'm with you on that.
Being poor sucks.
Oh, totally.
So you moved to Connecticut on a cop salary. Was he dirty? Was your dad, was he dirty? Did he ever run into that guy Serpico? Wait, you were born in New York City.
Yeah, but grew up in New Canaan.
Okay, and what was so that's like a New York tri-state.
Wow, I can't believe Ann Coulter comes from rich fascists. Wow, it's such the apple really fell far from the tree, chat.
Area kind of, yeah.
Everybody's, it's funny. It's a little like the Upper East Side, which is to say during the day, all of the husbands leave New Canaan. They all leave the Upper East Side. You see all ladies with their kids.
Blah, 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 right? Yeah.
No, I mean, it's a very safe environment, much like the Upper East Side until de Blasio and now.
Do you think that like Martha Stewart was like kind of the most elite of those Connecticut ladies? She like turned staying in Connecticut while the guys in New York City into like a billion-dollar brand? Am I wrong?
I don't know. I just know she supported Bill Clinton, so I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan of Martha Stewart because you're kind of lib. That's kind of lib. No. You know how like I heard someone recently after Ozzy Osbourne died, they were like, but he was a Zionist. I'm like, he was on drugs. Who cares? What do you think?
That's indicative in her case of being part of the fancy crew and just I don't know like Reese Witherspoon and
Spoon.
Thank you. Paltrow, Gwyneth Paltrow. You know,
it's so funny to be like not like the way Ann Coulter pretends like corporate Democrats are not exactly on the same team as her like red hunter corporate lawyer father. You know what I mean? Like playing up the differences for the rubes.
That whole just people I don't care about.
So you don't like the elite.
Correct.
You're a woman of the people.
That's totally right. You know, because my father was an Irish cop, apparently.
Your dad was on the beat. He had a billy club. He was in the 5 points. It's good. You guys became cops. We became Hollywood. The Itralians became criminals. You know, like it was a good time back in the. You know that the Lower East Side was its own congressional district. Isn't that crazy? It was the most densely populated place in the world, like turn of the 20th century.
You know, well, I know it was a lot of poor people, and now it's very shishi.
It was us. It was your guys were there too. You're not half Irish?
I'm a quarter Irish.
Oh my God, you're ashamed.
My father. No, I'm just
You're ashamed of your Irish lineage.
No, I was worried we might be going back to my father being an Irish cop, which would have made me half Irish, but he wasn't even fully Irish.
Okay, so he was half Irish, and he was like, what was the other half?
Dutch. I dedicated one of my books to my ancestor, F.E. van Verik.
Anne Frank. Yeah.
F.E. van Verik. And Varick Street comes from that Varick family.
Oh, like old New York.
That's going back to the Revolutionary War. So I had a lot of Dutch relatives in New York. Yeah. When they scammed the Indians out of it, ha ha ha. And then British Isles. Yeah. Oh, and a little German.
Do you have Catholic blood? Are you half blood? Are you half green, half orange? Are you half green, half orange?
You can see why this is a lost episode because Ann Coulter is not batting. She's not playing along. She's like interrupting the improv. She's not She's not very deaf. I can see why she's not on TV anymore. She's kind of boring. No volleying.
You're mostly
that I
orange.
don't know, but
Was your
It's
dad?
so interesting to be a conservative and also have no interest in any of your own heritage. Like, isn't that fascinating? Isn't it fascinating to be like some sort of like hierarchy obsessed conservative, and then you have no intent or no like the narcissism is so bad that it wraps around to becoming so self-involved you don't even care about your own lineage. She's just a complete fraud in every way.
Catholic?
his mother was Catholic, his father was Presbyterian, and all of my other ancestors were Presbyterian.
Okay. What's Presbyterian like?
Just Christian.
Do they? Is it like a? Are the songs good?
Songs are great.
Do they do Amazing Grace?
Yep.
Oh, I love that song. Zach, how much do we love that song?
Real church songs are fabulous. I hate the modern Christian churches that do, you know, the rock and roll up at the top.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you're talking about Southern evangel. Okay, so she's trying to claim that she's a WASP, a wealthy WASP, right? And the Southern evangelical shit, yeah, that's the Republican Party now. It's not WASP from Connecticut. They don't exist anymore.
Grace, you know, well, you must know this. It was written by a
British
slave trader.
I thought it was a British pastor.
It is a British slave trader. He was really big. The boat got in a storm. He realized he was going to die, and he blamed himself for being a slave trader, and swore to God, I will serve you. I will give up the slave trading.
At the last
just
second?
save my life. No, he lived, and he wrote Amazing Grace because he was saved.
Wow. So it wasn't the Jews doing that. Farrakhan's wrong?
I'd say all white people were trading slaves.
I can't believe it. I thought why
know.
would Farrakhan? So you're a deadhead growing up?
Yes.
How many shows you been to?
You know,
And stop, just be
I'm
real.
very embarrassed by this, but you know, it was a big thing with deadheads. Well, there are a lot of big things with deadheads, like keeping lists of the songs they played at concerts, but one was to keep your tickets. And so one time, I'm very tidy, and I'm going through my apartment, and I found a drawer that's just full of all these dead tickets, and I thought, what am I doing this for? And I just swept them all out, and then Jerry died, and I realized, oh, that's why we kept the ticket stubs, so we could count up how many shows we've been. So I didn't know. I checked with a few friends. At the time, I figured it was above 60.
Above 60. So you were like, you did LSD, marijuana, stuff like that?
Never took drugs.
You were there at that.
I liked the music. Not in the 70s.
You like deedle, deedle, deedle,
kindergarten.
deedle? 3 hours of deedle, deedle, deedle? Just no drugs?
No drugs. By the time I started following them, no, they were very melodic. I still
80s?
listen to Dead. I love them.
80s dead. 90s?
Yeah.
Early 90s, they were at their peak.
Yeah, they
Before
were.
Jerry died.
They were very melodic. Nobody liked space. We'd go out and get wine or a beer or something when they do the space music.
Oh, you'd have champagne?
Depends where we were.
That's so you. That is
So she's just lying. She got intoxicated on drugs. All right, listen, guys. Like, of all the people on the planet, I am like the ideal targeted audience for this, and she just sucks. I love Adam Friedland. I really do. But they have absolutely no chemistry, and it actually sucks. Like, I would honestly consider it annoying. I'll be completely honest with you. I'll be completely honest with you. I think Ann Coulter might be washed. So let's instead talk about a brand new story, which is absolutely fucking insane because it's so fucking racist. Trump strips black sailors' name from ship to name so he can name it after himself. I don't know how to make this shorter than that. I don't know how to make it shorter than that because that's what he's doing. What do you even say? It's so fucking racist. It's not even funny. It's just like, I don't know what to say. Trump replaces black veterans' names with his own. Yeah, I mean, that's honestly not, it's not. I feel like this is more correct. This is.
And sources tell us the Navy is considering a new name for an aircraft carrier that it's building, potentially President Trump's name. But
now, from what I understand, fleet carriers are named after presidents, right? So we should be getting up on what? Obama, right? Like we have the George H.W. Bush. We should have the Barack Obama, or do they have to be dead? I feel like we have an H.W. already, or we have Bill Clinton. Oh, we have an H.W. Bush, then it's Bill Clinton. We have an Obama? Huh? The Michigan AFL-CIO has endorsed Abdul Al-Sayed. Nice. But this story is so fucking batshit.
Because there's more. Because that carrier already had a name. It was slated to honor this man, Doris Dory Miller, a black sailor who fearlessly jumped into action during Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor. I'm talking about a war hero. Miller was a mess attendant, 3rd class in rank. It was one of the only jobs in the Navy that was open to black men. The day of the attack, December 7th, 1941, a day that will live in infamy. He had just finished serving breakfast and was gathering laundry when the explosions started. Well, Miller aided his wounding commanding officer. He took control of an anti-aircraft gun without any training. His story was so powerful that Hollywood put it on the big screen in the movie Pearl Harbor.
Okay, hold on. I have it. He was so woke, he didn't want to say the racial slur. So he was struggling. He was struggling to say he could have just said the Japanese are here, but the wokeness in him was stopping him at the exact moment. Wait, are they not? Is this clip not going to show it? I played all this and they're not showing. All right, hold on. This is the one we're talking about, right? Oh, here we go. So, excuse me. That is, he shot down some Japanese planes. Now, FDR was very woke. And so his wife, to promote the idea that black people could be part of the war effort, they made this a big story, you know, at the time. They highlighted it. Oh, and then they just show it. I should have just trusted.
I'm joined now by Doris Miller's great nephew, Thomas Bledsoe. Thomas, thank you so much for being here. I know you and the rest of the family were not notified about this. So tell me, how did you react when you first heard that the future USS Doris Miller might be renamed and potentially after President Trump?
So for our family, it was quite a shock to hear that there was conversation about the possibility of renaming the Doris Miller carrier. And so not only was it a shock, but it was also a shock that we found out from a news outlet comparably from the Navy. And so it caused a lot of concerns and uncertainty. And so for us, it immediately became a family group conversation about what is happening, what does it mean, because you know, in January 2020 was a big day for us when we went to the naming ceremony and got the opportunity to see what was happening and then to see Doris Miller get recognition in such a great way as we continue to fight for him to get recognition for the Congressional Medal of Honor as well.
This wasn't just any ship naming, as you've talked about. I mean, it was set to be the first aircraft carrier named for a Black American and an enlisted sailor. So what would be lost?
It's actually crazy that the Trump administration is less woke than the 1942 United States Navy. Like, that's how bad they are. Like, because at the time, this guy's heroism was intended to be a way of trying to, like, create racial cohesion and draw the country together. Like, even this mess attendant could be a hero. And he was given, and it was, like, very public. Like, here's the photo of, in 1942, of Nimitz giving him, Admiral Nimitz giving him the Distinguished Cross, the Navy Cross, excuse me, which is like one of the most senior awards you could get for bravery. And like, this is 1942. They were woker in 1942 than the Trump administration is now. And when I say woke, what I really mean is Donald Trump and the Republican Party are fucking fascists. It's anti-American, to be honest with you. To destroy like the legacy of the United States of America has a few times in its history where it was the good guy, right? Fighting against militarism and fascism, you could present us as being on the right side, correct side. And they're ripping that up to celebrate Trump. Like, they know that we're not going to keep that ship named Trump, right? Like, even if they do this, we're not going to keep that name Trump. We're stripping Trump off the fucking ship. Like, it's not going to stay named Trump. No fucking way.
If his name is taken off this carrier.
So it has a great significance for that. One of the things about Doris Miller's story is not only about him being the hero that he was on that day at Pearl Harbor, but it was also about an individual stepping beyond the means of what they were assigned to do and going above and beyond. And that why not me moment was very significant, not only for the African American community, but for Americans overall. It's a testament to how society can put you in boxes, but then being able to step outside that and have great moments. It's such significance. And even more so, when I got an opportunity to hear my great-grandfather Connery talk about his son, it wasn't just that Doris was a hero. It was that he was a son to someone, a brother to someone, and the significance of what African Americans were going through at that time really played out through history and really showed one of the first steps into civil rights, one of the first steps into African Americans being seen outside of what society had placed on them. And so this isn't just about a name on a ship. It's about an opportunity and a goal. It's about a significance in what it means to be an American. And it's also about how we as a community can grow as one and become one towards one goal as a nation is so important.
The phrase, why not me, resonates so deeply for so many people, and to hear his story and the impact on our entire country, and dare I say, the world. Thomas, we are hearing the Navy is also considering naming another warship for your great uncle and recommending him for the Medal of Honor, something your family, as you have said.
They're such scum, dude. They're such fucking scum. It's sort of like, it's like a mental patient smearing shit on the walls. Like forcing us to all go and clean it up. The humiliation of having to go and clean up the mess and wasting our time that could be used on something productive. That's Donald Trump. And I feel like, you know, this is probably my fault that we don't do enough anti-Trump content, because you really need to understand he's not funny anymore. He's not cute anymore. He's a scumbag of the highest order. There is literally, he's not even going around and cracking jokes anymore. He's just a disgusting rat. And every element of his fucking corrosion needs to go. We need to purge every single thing he's ever done. Anything that's named after him. Anything that, you know, our taxpayer dollars are going to. We should have nothing named after this scumbag when he goes. Sports Fan has gifted 18 subs, which resulted in 3 additional gifties, correct? Or did it not go through? Remember, chat, we get a bonus sub for every 5.
Has fought for years.
Oh, you gave 15 and therefore I got 3. Okay, that makes sense.
Would that somehow
gifting 18.
compensate if his name is truly taken off this aircraft carrier? Or is this not the either or?
You know, one, it is an honor for him to be continually be spoken of in consideration for Congressional Medal of Honor. That is something that my great-grandmother, Henrietta, constantly worked for, and it's been passed on generations to make sure we can see that one day come true. But even if they take his name and rename another ship, it is also about timing. So we're looking at my mother, my uncles, which is our Doris's nieces and nephews that are in their 70s, and them being able to have the opportunity to see this go to fruition is so important. So naming another ship, although it's a great honor, we're talking about timing of another generation that may miss the opportunity to see something go to the final end.
If the president, Secretary Hegseth, or the Navy Secretary were watching right now, what would you tell them?
What I would say is Doris Miller stands for so much about America and who we are today. And as they're contemplating, or maybe contemplating changing the name, to take a moment and realize the significance of what the name is and the significance of what it truly inspires and impacts this nation today, and the importance of timing. And so, although I understand that these decisions are made well above in many different levels, I would really want someone to take the time to realize the true impact of changing the name and what it would do to society, and also young girls and young boys that look up to Doris Miller and his story and who they want to aspire to be one day and going above and beyond.
Doris Miller, so significant.
We have to recognize that Donald Trump has absolutely no shame and he has no moral compass, and he's just a disgusting parasite. And the only way to deal with somebody like that is to put them in prison and take all their assets.
Thomas Bledsoe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hassan Abi Jr., thank you for the 10. What the fuck? Under Trump, protected wild horses are going to slaughter? They once had run free through the desert mountains of the West, a multicolored band of 68 wild Mustangs that had never been saddled or corralled. Then the federal government rounded them up with helicopters, as it has with tens of thousands of other Mustangs, in an attempt to control wild populations on public lands. Horses were held for years at a feedlot in Idaho while the government tried to find them what it calls loving homes. Abruptly this March, the government found a home. Whether it was loving didn't seem to matter. The horses were packed into echoing metal trailers and trucked 1,800 miles to the pens of a hard-luck livestock trader in Ohio named Brandon Jones, who bought them for $25 each. So they literally stole these guys and enriched some fucking dope. So horse meat goes for what? $2 a pound? So this guy made like just on the meat alone, and that's a low estimate. He probably made, how much horse meat is from each horse? We're talking about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They never appeared at a public auction. The trader won't say where they went. Wild horse advocates suspect the horses were shipped to slaughter. But it's not the government's concern. It got what it wanted. 2 more trucks of wild horses off the books. It wasn't the first time or the last. In the past year, the government had shipped the trader 1 truckload of Mustangs after another, and not just him. Slaughtering wild horses is illegal, but the Bureau's actions create a loophole that enables people to get Mustangs on the cheap and then quickly resell them to be exported alive, processed into cuts of meat, and sold abroad. Livestock inspection reports show Mustangs sold by the government soon ended up on trucks bound for slaughter plants in Canada. The U.S. government's sales of wild horses were once rare, but they started to rise under Trump took office. 2025, they more than doubled the 3,700 horses, according to Bureau records. In that time, the Bureau has sent about 500 horses to Mr. Jones. They came from all over the West, the windswept ridges of Cedar Mountain in Utah, the canyons of Clan Alpine Wilderness in Nevada, the high meadows of Twin Peaks, California, and the carved red hoodoos of Adobe Town, Wyoming. In an interview, Mr. Jones said he was able to resell the horses quickly, though he didn't advertise online or even post a for sale sign at his corral. He would not say where the horses went and denied selling any to slaughter. The government spends more than $3,000 to capture a Mustang and bring it to market, but sells for as little as $25. This is how they steal our fucking money. This is how they do it. This is how they do it. This is how they do it. They spend $3,000 of taxpayer money, and then they sell the product for $25 to a crony, who then turns around and sells it for $750. So our government is out $2,975 per horse, but this guy makes $725 in profit. This is how people get rich in America now. They're ripping the fucking wiring out of the wall. This is why our country's fucked, and they're doing it for evil. The potential for profit keeps buyers coming. Yeah, no shit. If you sell me something worth $750 for $25, and all I do is steal the money out of the fucking government, these people should go to jail. They should go to prison. We should throw away the key. At 1 year for every single horse. 1 year in prison for every horse they killed illegally. This guy should never be free again. Everybody involved in this should go to prison. And I know we have some people here who are prison abolitionists, and I get all that, and that's nice. These guys are the last guys out of prison. By selling Mustangs at a huge loss, animal welfare organizations say the agency in charge of protecting wild horses is instead subsidizing their destruction. The BLM is saying to the public that slaughter is off the table, but they're doing it in plain sight using a third party, said Claire Staples, who runs Wild Horse Sanctuary in Oregon called Sky Dog Ranch. There are simple steps the Bureau could take to end this, but they're turning a blind eye, and they're the only ones getting punished for what is going on are the horses. I gotta tell you guys something. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. But these people deserve prison. And they deserve prison for a very, very, very long time. Because think about the scam. 1, they're illegally murdering the horses. 2, they're burning a bunch of taxpayer money. And 3, they're profiting personally for it and getting enriched. And then 4, this guy probably donates a portion of those proceeds to Republican politicians. 4 crimes being committed here. Meanwhile, they can't fix a fucking pothole unless you're in New York City and have Zohra Mamdani. About 73,000 wild horses roam federal public lands in the West, where they are protected from hunting or capture for decades in an attempt to keep the population sustainable. The Bureau has rounded up 9,500 on average each year and offered them for adoption, but it finds adopters for only half. The rest go into a labyrinth of feedlots and pastures that the Bureau calls the holding system. The system now stores 58,000 wild horses at an annual cost of $100 million. You know what they should do? Just sterilize them and then release them. Just sterilize and release. Sterilize and release. What the fuck are we doing? They're bad for the environment. Yes, but by sterilizing, they don't reproduce and they will naturally decline. Caring for them eats up most of the Bureau's $142 million wild horse budget. Over the years, Bureau leaders have floated various lethal proposals for reducing the herds, including using sharpshooters, selling horses directly to slaughterhouses, and building a gas chamber. But Congress, aware that the public wants Mustangs protected, has barred the Bureau from spending any money to kill healthy wild horses. The recent surge in sales is not the first time the Trump administration has taken actions that indirectly enable horses to be sent to slaughter. During Trump's first term, a program that paid people $1,000 to adopt a wild horse had similar results. Project 2025, a policy paper by the Heritage Foundation that in many ways has acted as a blueprint for the second Trump administration, has argued that the Bureau needs to be able to cut costs by killing horses and said that Congress must enact laws permitting the BLM to dispose humanely of these animals. There are alternatives to the roundups that have left so many horses in storage. For 20 years, the Bureau has access to inexpensive fertility control drugs delivered via dart gun. They've been used effectively to control a few wild horses, and the government's own experts have repeatedly urged the Bureau to use them more widely. It's so funny how I can think about this for 5 minutes and come up with the correct solution that is actually the scientific solution. And it's not because I'm a super genius. It's just logic. It's not exactly hard to figure out. And they could do it apparently even easier than I knew. I thought they had to go in Geld or something. But because the Bureau is spending so much on storage and has little left to make the changes that would save it from storing more. This is the type of incompetence that happens when you have fascists in government. Every time you see incompetence like this in the government, people are profiting. And who's profiting? The people that sell feed to the BLM, right? The $100 million in feed for the horses. They're making sure the government is incompetent, okay? Because that's how they get rich, selling feed to the US government. So they make sure the government is fucking incompetent. And this is why people like Zohran Mamdani can come into office and solve problems so quickly, because all they have to do is bonk the heads of the incompetence and double check what's going on and make common sense alterations and push out all the corrupt people. And then bam, things are getting fixed twice as fast and for cheaper. Because the Bureau has been unable to stop horses from coming into the storage system, it is now focused on getting them out. While the Bureau can't kill wild horses, it could use a series of bureaucratic maneuvers and financial transactions to transform them on paper into domestic livestock, stripping their legal protections. First, the Bureau has to show a wild horse can't be adopted. It does this by posting hundreds of horses at a time at its online adoption site. After a horse has got 3 one-week listings with no takers, the law permits the government to designate it as unadoptable. Then it can be put up for sale. A sold horse can't be legally killed, at least not yet, because the buyer is required to sign a contract promising not to slaughter the horse knowingly or knowingly sell it. Anyone who intends to resell it for slaughter. But if the buyer resells it to a middleman without asking questions, the buyer is safe from prosecution. The middleman has not signed a contract with the Bureau and is free to legally sell the Mustang to slaughter. The Bureau is outspoken that it does not let horses go to slaughter, even through middlemen. It has a big incentive to get Mustangs off its ledgers. While quickly selling truckloads of horses to private traders, the Bureau plasters its website with photos of loving owners hugging and kissing their Mustangs. Every wild horse or burro placed in a good home represents a win for the animals, the American taxpayer, and our public lands. The BLM is using sales in a way that it was never intended by the law to send young, healthy wild horses into the slaughter pipeline, says Patricia Miller, the director of American Wild Horse Conservation. Oh, and here's the scam. And this is where the scam really gets big. This is how you know it's a Donald Trump connected or Republican connected scam artist. The Ohio trader Brandon Jones appeared out of nowhere in the wild horse world last spring and quickly became the Bureau's biggest buyer. Bureau records show. Wow, I can't believe it. Where did he figure this scam out? Wow, I can't believe this guy suddenly figured out this amazing, profitable scam. I wonder where he figured it out from. He got his start in Mustangs after his 2 previous livestock auction businesses folded, leaving a string of debts. On a weekday this spring, a dozen newly arrived Mustangs grazed in his pasture near the town of Wausau, Ohio. Mr. Jones, 35, was working outside his barn in dirt-crusted boots and a worn ball cap. When approached by a reporter from the Times, he was at times friendly and at times agitated. He spoke for 2 hours but refused to say specifically what had happened to the horses he purchased from the government, other than to insist that none had gone to slaughter. He said he sold horses only 2 to 3 times to good owners. I'm not dealing with traders, he said. I'm dealing with a farmer come up the road who wants to buy a horse. Showed photos and video of the trucks of horses that left his property at midnight, taken by a local wild horse lover and shared with the Times. He questioned whether it had happened. Could have been cattle, he said. To buy large numbers of Mustangs, Mr. Jones had to get approval from top officials at the Bureau. His application stood out. Nearly all the other buyers who have qualified over the years have well-established Mustang sanctuaries. Not Mr. Jones. He has no ties to the wild horse world and no history of working with Mustangs. The application asked what veterinarian would care for the horses. He lifted an office an hour away from his land with a website that says it treats only small animals. On Facebook, he was friends with a number of livestock dealers, but no wild horse rescues. For a year, his application sat at the Bureau with no action. Then, in March 2025, a federal court... Hold on, chat. I got it.
So powerful. Joining me now, retired Navy Senior Chief Petty Officer Malcolm Nance. He's also a New York Times best-selling author and host of the Black Man Spy podcast on Substack. Good to see you again. It's been a long time, Malcolm. Chief, you served in the Navy for 20 years. And I understand that Miller's story in particular has meant so much to your family. How do you feel hearing they may scrap the plan for now?
You know, my father, who served in the Navy in World War II, was 15 when he ran away from home in Georgia and joined the Navy. He lied about his age. And that was in 1944. Dory Miller was already an icon in that community. He inspired thousands upon thousands of young men to see what the ultimate sacrifice for America was. And it wasn't just what happened to him on December 7th, 1941. It was December 7th, 1943, when he lost his life on the USS Liscum Bay after a Japanese torpedoing. What Dory Miller represents here, and I'm speaking as a chief, okay? And my job as a chief is to, one, maintain the dignity and the honor of the deck plate sailors and to help recalibrate the officers above me. And when I say this honor was not just because he was an enlisted man or a black man who won the Navy Cross. It was the honor of the 643 other men who died with him that day. World War II, when my dad was out there serving in the Pacific, men were dying by the hundreds. This was the first capital warship named for an enlisted man, named for a person who won the Navy Cross. And the Navy Cross automatically gets you a Medal of Honor review, which was not granted to him. But it symbolizes the moment of every one of our Navy sailors, men and women, for that one moment that encapsulates honor, courage, commitment.
And yet, we are hearing from sources saying that there were internal conversations about renaming the ship, not after one of the other men on that same ship, but after President Trump. Now, it would be unprecedented to name an aircraft carrier after a sitting president. So why even consider this? And what is your reaction to that consideration?
You know, Navy carriers and other capital warships, yeah, they've been named after people, presidents who has generally served in the armed forces. John F. Kennedy, to name one, right, who was a PT boat commander in the Pacific. But this is about taking something, a tradition the Navy took decades to do, and to strip it away, to take our own honor away from the sailors who were preparing to build this vessel up from the keel up and turn it into a symbol, not just of American power, of America's strength in...
Sorry I made you listen to Malcolm Nance, the warmonger, chat. Sorry, my bank was calling me, and I had to make sure I wasn't being robbed. You know what I mean? When your bank calls you, you should pick that up. You know what I mean? So, we're all set. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I was reading this really great article about how Donald Trump is another evil rat fuck. Okay. My bank called and said I needed more donos from chat. True. They said, Mike, were you aware that because you're streaming in dual format, anytime someone gifts 5 subs, you actually get 6, so they get more bang for their buck? Wow. So you should tell your community to take advantage of that as much as they can. Wow. What is dual format? It means that there's a vertical version of the stream and a horizontal version of the stream. You're welcome. You're welcome for that. 420 no scope. Mike, this is your bank. Have you chilled today? I just did. I tried viewing a dual format vertical and it was asked. Yeah, I'm not promising it'll be good. It's just that it exists. Are you sure they didn't spoof your bank's name? No, because I wasn't authorizing them to do anything. You know, like I wasn't approving a payment or anything. They were talking about, I was setting up Zelle, basically, chat, on my bank. If you want to know, you know, I won't tell you anything more than that, but that's it. There you go. That's it. Have you seen a Karen Bass video? She is incredibly dumb. Anyway, let's finish this because it would be a bagger video for the YouTube. Okay. For a year, his application sat at the Bureau with no action. Then, in March 2025, a federal court ordered an end to one of the Bureau's leading ways of offloading horses, a program that paid adopters $1,000 per horse. A few weeks later, Mr. Jones' application was approved. During the interview at his corral, he declined to share sales records showing where the hundreds of horses he received went. Over the course of discussing his business, he did not mention any training or challenges of finding owners for wild Mustangs. But he spoke about 5 of the region's slaughter traders who he knew by name and the current price of horse meat. He denied selling Mustangs. Thank you, my Vito, for the 5. You're the best. He denied selling Mustangs to the traders. He said it was wrong to see him as a bad guy. By reselling Mustangs, he said, he had saved the government millions. Shouldn't I be getting a thank you, he asked. Other people all over the country are flipping sale horses at a smaller scale. In April, the Bureau trucked 200 Mustangs to a dusty fairground in Puteaux, Oklahoma for a 2-day adoption event. This is a great opportunity to find your next partner and give them a good home to a wild horse or burro, Bureau said on Facebook. A few people showed up to adopt a companion animal, but most gravitated to Mustang the Bureau had already designated unadoptable and bought bunches of large horses that could be quickly resold. There's no official tracking mechanism for these horses, but the Bureau brands every horse it captures with a distinctive serial number on its neck, so there are ways to identify where some end up. Brands of at least 55 Mustangs sold at the Oklahoma event showed up a few days later in Kansas and Texas, where the horses had been resold to large livestock auctions frequented by slaughter buyers, according to sales records gathered by wild horse protection groups. The pattern has repeated at more than a dozen events. Wild horse organizations said they have documented more than 250 Mustangs that were bought from the Bureau, quickly dumped in the past 12 months, but said they have most likely missed many more. The average age of horses they documented was 5 years. It used to be rare that we'd see a Mustang at the auctions, and if we did, they were usually old. Now we're seeing a huge influx, and most of these horses are young, 2 or 3 years old. They're easiest to train and should be easy to adopt. She bought 3 Mustangs at one of the auctions and put them on her Oregon preserve. We are only able to save a few, she said. Most go to the kill buyers. There are small clues to what may have happened to the wild horses sold to Mr. Jones. 4 showed up at late last fall at an auction in Tennessee frequented by slaughter buyers, and a local Mustang trader alerted the Bureau. The Bureau did not pause sales to Mr. Jones after the alert. About a week later, it shipped him 68 more horses. Mr. Jones said the horses in Tennessee were the result of one bad sale to an irresponsible buyer. Another clue emerged at the Canadian border. The United States has no horse slaughter plants. The industry was shut down in 2007. So horses are now exported to Canada. My Canadian hate is always justified. You know, the Canadians in the chat, say sorry. You have a lot to apologize for. Say sorry right now in the comments and the chat. Share this video, share this stream, subscribe, and more importantly, gift at least 5 subs because you get a bonus sub. Until June, when exports were stopped amid concerns over a new world screwworm outbreak, they also went to Mexico. Mr. Jones lives about an hour from the main Canadian horse export crossing. So basically, this guy has a corral right next to the Canadian border. He gets the Bureau of Land Management to ship him wild horses that cost $3,000 each to catch. He buys them for $25 to adopt them. Then he sells them to Canadian horse slaughterers for $750. So the government is wasting millions upon millions of dollars to enrich this guy and kill wild horses against the law. For years, Canadian border inspection records show trailers going through the crossing had no evidence of Mustangs. Last summer, after a few weeks after Mr. Jones received a load of 97 mares, exports records show that one of the largest exporters of slaughter horses to Canada, an Ohio man named Fred Bauer, shipped 2 trucks of horses to Canada. Grainy photos of the trailer's interiors taken by border inspectors show some of the horses had distinctive government wild horse brands. Mr. Jones denied that his horses went to Canada through the exporter, saying, "I'd never deal with Freddie Bauer. Me and Freddie Bauer don't get along." Reached by phone, Mr. Bauer declined to say whether he had bought Mustangs from Mr. Jones. When he asked where Mr. Jones' horses were going, Mr. Bauer said, "We all know what Brandon Jones is. Where do you think they're going?" He would not elaborate, but added it would be civil for authorities to track the horses. The government put Brandon Jones in charge of this whole wild horse situation, he said. There's all kinds of records, so they ought to be able to find out what he's doing if they want to. And it's not just about us going like, oh my God, horses are innocent wild horses. Oh my God, I can't believe they're being murdered. It's not hypocrisy for us to point out that these killings are against the law. They're being subsidized by taxpayers. And this guy is being enriched because of his connection to the Trump administration. This is a perfect example of corruption and fiscal mismanagement of our money. And it's not okay. If we want to change our wild horse management policies, we could change our wild horse management policies. But this is a fucking crime, and it's a scam, and it's bullshit. What a scumbag. Off-Brand TV, thank you for the 6 gifted. What a fucking... He really is just an evil piece of shit, isn't he? There is literally nothing redeeming about Donald Trump. All right, chat. Interest rates are climbing, so your credit cards, your mortgages, your student loans, your car debt, it's all going up. This is the highest that the 30-year has been for decades. You have to go back to 2002 for a 30-year bond at a similar rate. 25-year high for treasury bonds. What about my high yield savings accounts and CDs? I don't know. Are they going up? Are you getting any increase in your interest? Is it going up? Why does debt and interest matter if MMT says we can print as much as we can? That's not what MMT says. Why do people struggle with MMT? It's not complicated. It's really not complicated. MMT says that the limit of government action is inflation, not taxation. And that taxation does not precede spending. Spending precedes taxation. And in order to manage the inflation rate, we can either decrease government spending or we could raise taxes. That's all that MMT says. MMT says that it is inflation that is affected by tax rates and to government spending, not we have a capacity from we're taking tax dollars and then spending them. It's you put the cart before the horse. That's all MMT is doing. MMT is explaining that system. That's all MMT is explaining to you. It doesn't mean that there's no such thing as inflation. It doesn't mean the government can spend unlimited money. It doesn't mean that we don't have to pay taxes. None of that has been presented. I don't know why people struggle with this. Excuse me. Iran, according to the Hormuz letter, a really reliable source. They got 400 likes on Twitter. I assume this is credible. I guess it's credible. I hate when people just give me Twitter accounts, man, with like no credibility. I fucking hate it. Is then I have to like stop and I'm like, okay, is this legitimate? Is it hearsay? Is it actually credible? Fucking annoying. I'm a former horse boy. The thing is, I miss more than riding is watching our horses express their personalities. It was always fun. I may need to track out a couple of them. They should be approaching old age. Yeah. Who gives a fuck about this? Who the fuck cares? I'm sorry, you guys can't see it on the vertical video, but they're talking about the return of Harry and Meghan to the British royal family. You could not make me care about that. Other than, how do we get rid of the British royal family? I am like, I'm trying to, like, you know, find something. I want to talk about the yen bailout. Excuse me. Great.
The Trump administration is overhauling its strategy in the war with Iran. Again, instead of trying to wipe out Iran's military, the new goal is to crush their economy. That's something the president is now branding economic D-Day. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the U.S. is reaching out to all of its allies to put together the greatest coordinated economic isolation in the history of the world.
If you insist on doing business with them, either transferring money, buying their oil, doing seaborne ship transfers, then the U.S. Treasury and the U.S. government, they will put its full might and force toward enforcing against you.
So the U.S. is also imposing new sanctions against Hezbollah and designating the Lebanese militant group as an Iranian proxy. Joining me now, Edward Fishman, former diplomat and international relations scholar. He's the author of the book Choke Points, American Power in the Age of Economic Warfare. It's nice to have you with us this morning. So, you know, I should point out there are some signs here that this economic approach is having some impact, but we're also dealing with a brutal regime, which we know is not necessarily moved by the plight of its citizens when they are suffering. How long do you think this regime...
Okay, so this is kind of like an interesting sleight of hand, isn't it? Where basically they're going like, oh, you know, you're not intimidated. Like you're not suffering. Like your people's suffering is like, it's not enough for you to care. And it's like, wait, you're the one causing them to suffer. You're the aggressor. Why the fuck is me not surrendering to you side of my moral depravity instead of it's your moral depravity to target civilians? It's like the most Darvo shit of all time. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What? We get to blockade you, and the fact that you're not surrendering immediately is a sign of you being morally depraved. Like, what the fuck?
Will and can hold out. In your mind, is it months? Could it be years?
Well, look, Erica, the track record of economic pressure bringing about regime change is very poor. So I don't think we should expect the Iranian regime to collapse under economic pressure. I mean, go back even to Trump's first term. When Trump launched a maximum pressure strategy against Venezuela, the Venezuelan economy declined by about 75%. It was one of the biggest peacetime collapses we've seen of an economy. And Maduro stayed in power until Trump launched the...
By the way, was that socialism that collapsed the economy of Venezuela, or was it American aggression? Like, people be like, look at how much suffering there was in Venezuela caused by the U.S. That proves socialism can't work. And it's like, so which is it? Was America big and strong and powerful and destroyed these countries with our might? Or did they fail of their own accord because socialism doesn't work? Which one is it?
Maduro raid earlier this year. So I don't think we can expect the Iranian regime just to collapse under economic pressure alone.
There's also, what I find interesting is we heard from the Treasury Secretary, from Scott Bessent, saying that it's unlikely that the U.S. is going to resume any large-scale fighting here. The reality in making those comments, while in some ways they may have been meant to soothe perhaps certain parties, Iran is listening to that as well.
100%, right? I think the Iranians understand that Trump doesn't want to fight a war. And this economic D-Day just sort of strikes everybody as Trump trying to seem tough and showing that he's doing something when he doesn't actually want to go back to the battlefield. What I'd also note, and a very important point here, is that Iran has been under comprehensive sanctions for decades. So really the only thing left to do on sanctions is to target Iran's trading partners. And really their top trading partner by far is China. And with Xi Jinping set to come to the White House in just about a month, it strikes me as pretty unlikely that Trump wants to ignite an economic war with China right now.
Which is fascinating, right? And I'm so glad you brought that up, because as we look at this, right, with that visit looming, how could even just this announcement, how could that impact those discussions and the visit itself?
Oh, it could impact the visit completely, right? I mean, I think let's see what Secretary Bessent actually announces in terms of sanctions on Monday. But if you actually took Trump at his word, and this is going to be unprecedented economic sanctions, economic D-Day, there's no way for that to be true unless there's aggressive sanctions on Chinese banks, Chinese energy companies, all of the Chinese companies that basically provide Iran with a lifeline to the global economy. If Trump actually were to do that, I think it would totally blow up the Trump-Xi visit, and I would expect that that visit wouldn't happen. And you may even have Chinese retaliation, right? We all remember last year when China cut off our access to rare earth minerals, it really upended supply chains here in the United States. So that's to say, if we could take Trump at his word, it would significantly imperil the visit. But I'm skeptical we're actually going to go in that direction.
I found interesting some recent comments from Chris Christie when he was talking about the war recently and the way he views this moment and Donald Trump. Take a listen to that.
Donald Trump is about to become what he never, ever wanted to be, Jimmy Carter.
Yes.
He is being held hostage by Iran. They are holding the Strait of Hormuz hostage. As a result, they're holding the world economy hostage.
Again, notice how Iran is cast as the aggressor when we are the ones who did a unprovoked sneak attack assassinating the head of state, a religious leader, at home with his grandkids, right? Like, we're the ones who aggressed against them, attacked them, bombed them with no declaration of war, and then proceeded to try to blockade their economy. And only then did they assert a closure of the Strait of Hormuz in response. Like, that's just what happened, okay? And I don't like the fact that this war started. I don't like the fact that Iran has exercised their prerogative to close the strait after they were attacked. That's why you don't do dumb wars that you can't win.
And it's focused at Donald Trump. And I know from talking to him over the last 24 years, the one person he would never want to be is Jimmy Carter.
I talked to him about Jimmy Carter,
right?
too.
And here we are, and it was all voluntary.
Right, to the point of Iran watching how all of this is playing out here, that is very much a focus, right, to see how things are playing at home and to understand what it would be like to have that Jimmy Carter moment or to be in the midst of it right now. Is Iran fully exploiting that? What more do you think could come?
Oh, certainly. I mean, I think the Iranians have understood now since March, right, since the very beginning of the war, that their control of the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most important energy choke point, gives them a huge amount of leverage over the United States. Because remember, in any sort of economic standoff, what matters isn't so much who inflicts more damage on the other side's GDP. What matters is which side has the capacity to withstand whatever pressure they're under. And I think the Iranians have assessed that even though their economy is certainly suffering much more from a sort of quantitative standpoint than the United States, that America's tolerance for economic pain is a lot lower than theirs is. And I think that's just going to be Iran's strategy moving forward.
Edward Fishman, really appreciate your time and your viewpoint this morning. Thank you.
A spokesperson for Beijing's foreign ministry said, quote, sanctions and pressure tactics are not the solution. That's vis-a-vis Iran. This as President Trump declared what he called an economic D-Day.
This guy Fishman called for the deportation of all students who celebrated Hamas. Wow, I can't believe they're Zionists. Guys, I can't believe the Zionists are being Zionists again.
On Iran.
Here's the thing, like, obviously, technically it's legal to support Zionism in a kind of broad sense, but it's illegal to support genocide. And when an active genocide is going on and you're taking money from a foreign government, I think you should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And I make no bones about it. If you made me, Attorney General, I'd be going and I'd raid AIPAC the next day. I would be raiding these foreign lobby organizations at Front Group the next day. I'd be kicking down their doors. I'd be grabbing all their devices. I'd be, it is what it is. Like, that's what I would do day one. And any type of coordination between the Israeli government and these lobby groups would be a violation of FARA, and everybody involved would be prosecuted. And all of the Israeli, officials would be persona non grata back to Tel Aviv. That's day fucking one.
And this is how Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that the economic activity would affect the military operation.
If we are doing the maximum economic pressure, then that means that likely there will not be a large-scale kinetic restart. But I would emphasize that is for now.
With us now is Congressman Rich McCormick, a Republican from Georgia. He is a member of the Armed Services Committee. Congressman, great to see you. So economic D-Day, but the Treasury Secretary there, did he just tell the Iranians that likely for now, no more military strikes?
It kind of sounds like that. I really don't know. I don't want to interpret what he's trying to say, but it didn't sound like he wanted to, although he doesn't make that decision. That's the Secretary of War and the President directly. The Commander-in-Chief gets to make that decision, not him.
No, I get that. And you, of course, are a military pilot yourself, flew helicopters. And as we say, always thank you for your service there. But it is their Treasury Secretary there. And if you are among the Iranian leadership and you heard the Treasury Secretary of the United States say, you know, it means likely no more kinetic actions as long as these maximum economic pressures are in place, how would you feel about behaving in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, you're asking me to think about my adversary as if they're a human being that could take counteractions. Well, we think that's treasonous of you to say. What? You're treating the adversary as if they're human beings who take counteractions? That's illegal. Don't they know it's illegal to take counteractions? And this is why conservatives lose wars. That's why they lost the Korean War. It's why they lost the Vietnam War. It's why they lost the Iraq War. It's why they lost the Afghanistan War. It's why they're losing this Iran War. All they do is lose. It's why they lost in Vietnam, right? They lose because they're racist and it makes them dumb. So when they fight wars, they don't know how to put themselves into the other party's shoes. That's called empathy. But empathy in a war allows you to play the other side of the chessboard. Legitimately, conservatives play chess, not looking at their opponent's pieces. That's how they fight wars. Because their entire belief system is constructed on the idea that they're ordained by God to be at the top of the heap. And so that's why they keep losing and they keep dying in vain and they keep being defeated and they keep spending trillions. They keep losing this money that could be spent here at home on our kids, on our families, on our infrastructure, making our lives better, cleaning our air, cleaning our water, making sure we don't get sick from fucking uninspected lettuce or blueberries that now have listeria on them because they cut that funding and they spent it all at the military industrial complex where we're getting robbed blind. Fucking idiot.
We haven't seen any good behavior from Iran anyways. They've been defiant the entire time.
So they defeated us militarily? They were defiant the whole time? You fucking dope? You moron?
Had the MOU or any other time, I've never had any rhetoric come out of them that showed me that they had any intention of being good actors. They've done nothing but threaten us for years, for decades, really, this entire regime.
They have threatened us? They have threatened us? They engaged in a Iran nuclear deal with Obama where they agreed to have, and here's the thing about the Iran nuclear deal, I don't think people understand. Every major country in the world pledged to help enforce it. We're talking about Russia. We're talking about China. We're talking about Europe. We're talking about Brazil. We're talking about the United States. Like every major and minor power and middle power all pledged to help Iran develop a civilian nuclear power system that included invasive sanctions, or if any kind of weapon program was detected, total transparency and declaration of all nuclear sites, International Atomic Energy Association, snap inspections. I mean, they basically gave up their sovereignty in order to have the Iran nuclear deal. And every country agreed to help enforce it. Every single major country in the world. One of the most successful diplomatic accomplishments in American history. That was Obama's grandest achievement. And then Donald Trump came in. He ripped it up because Israel wanted to. Because Israel has this fantasy of attacking and destroying Iran. Anonymous gifter, thank you for the 25... We got 4 bonus subs. So you gave 23? What the fuck? I don't understand that number. Okay. Thank you so much for the 27 gifted subs. You're the best.
They've killed about 1,000 Americans, including 3 Georgians a couple of years ago with a drone attack through proxies. They've attacked us about 40 times. This is before the war. Since the war, they've been even more defiant. They've even talked about raining fire down from heaven. We are the great Satan to them. There is no real good solution except for regime change and unconditional surrender, in my point. I don't think we're going to get to that by economic sanctions, but realize that things change very rapidly over there. And I think that even though he's talking about no kinetic actions right now.
This is the Republican Party. This is the Republican Party. Regime change wars on Iran, you fucking nuts. We lost in Iraq, you dope. We couldn't beat the Houthis. We lost in Afghanistan. We lost in Korea. We lost in Vietnam. How many more defeats do you need to take? What percentage of the American people support this? 5%? 10%? We should have a national referendum and draft registration vote. And every single American should vote. And if you vote yes, you're drafted. and you go out of the polling place into a fucking bus and you go to basic training. I don't care if you're 90 years old. Every single person who votes yes, they're drafted and they're sent. And they don't get, and there's no like cooks or shit. That is frontline combat only. That's it. No cooks, no typists. I don't care what your skills are. I don't care if you're a doctor. I don't care if you're a lawyer. I don't care if you're an electrician. I don't care if you're an inventor. You are infantry grunt, light infantry. You're not even getting a fucking car, all right? You're walking. That is the way wars should be fought in America. If you vote for war, you are drafted. No exceptions. I don't care about any other factor. You're walking to the front line. It is what it is.
That can change literally within an hour.
So the president, you say you do not think we will get there by economic actions, because that's the stage the United States appears to be in right now. He's talking about maximum economic activity there, economic D-Day, full scale.
Like the United States has been pushed out of the Middle East. You guys understand that, right? Like our troops are now hiding in civilian hotels using human shields. Our military bases have been evacuated. Our planes have been drawn even further, more distant. We lost a THAAD battery, which cost billions of dollars each. That was destroyed. Did you know that the Iranian Air Force managed to bomb American bases with planes in Kuwait? They had an F-5. They've had multiple successful bombing raids with planes on the United States forces. And the Abraham Lincoln is limping back to port with its sailors jumping off the side trying to kill themselves. They're ankle deep in human shit and they're running out of food. And they want to continue this?
The world has never seen, but you don't think that will be enough?
I don't see any time where this country has shown anything but defiance. I think we should have put that on them from the very beginning. Of course, I'm also one of those people that thought we never should be at peace with these guys until they came to unconditional surrender, until they came to regime change, because this regime will threaten your children. They will threaten your grandchildren. They will be always trying to develop nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. They will destabilize the entire Middle East and the entire world geopolitical scheme as long as they're in existence. This would be absolutely transformative to get rid of this regime, which is very evil. And by the way, don't forget, it wasn't that long ago that they killed 50,000.
By the way, totally invented, totally made up number. Yes, thousands of Iranians were killed by the regime. That they have acknowledged. 50,000 is completely made up. The reason why they're saying 50,000 is to cover up for the probable hundreds of thousands of civilians that have been murdered in Gaza, and to try to create some sort of equivocation that does not exist. It's a totally made up propaganda number. They've just invented it. It's bullshit. And that, you know how we know? Because you could very easily see the myriad thousands of videos of civilians being murdered and the direct testimony of Americans who experienced it, and the videos we all saw on our phones and our screens. And there is much less of that available from Iran because it's just not true.
Their own people. That by the CIA analysts and the way you do analytics on what countries are the most dangerous, that is the most telling sign, is a country that's willing to kill their own people.
The United States is willing to kill their own people. They do it all the time. And just so you understand just how stupid this is, the USS Abraham Lincoln is finally withdrawing. It has been defeated. It has been beclowned, and it is retreating.
Also today, the U.S. military says the USS Abraham Lincoln is heading home after reports of poor living conditions following a roughly 9-month deployment. The Lincoln and its crew of about 5,000 sailors have been deployed as part of U.S. operations against Iran. Democratic lawmakers have cited reports of basic supply shortages and mental health concerns for those aboard the carrier. Admiral Brad Cooper, who heads U.S. Central Command, dismissed those concerns as old news. CENTCOM says a new carrier, the USS George Washington, has arrived in the Middle East and is now operational. Meantime, Iranian officials are condemning the latest U.S. economic threats, saying that sanctions and other measures targeting Iranian citizens constitute, in their words, crimes against humanity. In a social media post, Iran's foreign minister said today that U.S. economic terrorism threatens global economy and sovereignty worldwide. Last night, President Trump threatened Iran with what he called
"No one has given the Islamic Republic of Iran a greater opportunity to make a deal than me. Tragically for them, they have failed to take it. Therefore, today I am announcing the most crushing economic operation ever undertaken against any country. This will be economic warfare in isolation on an unprecedented scale. Their navy is gone. Their air force is destroyed. Their military factories are now rubble. Their currency is worthless. And their country is hanging by a thread. Today, I am also announcing that any country that allows its financial institutions, businesses, airports, or government entities to provide any type of lifeline to Iran will itself face tremendous economic consequences. Oil smuggling, swap lines, cash transfers, exchange houses, ship registries, front companies, it all needs to stop now. You know who you are. This will be economic D-Day, and we would need all of our allies to stand with the United States of America to isolate and defeat the Iran threat. These maniacs are on the ropes, and these historic measures, although he misspelled historic, will cripple them and their ability to project terror worldwide. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump.
Economic warfare and isolation on an unprecedented scale, saying it will be an economic D-Day. Then today, U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent said the U.S. and its allies will, quote, collapse the regime. Turning now to Europe, severe storms and at least one tornado.
To the USS Abraham Lincoln, heading home from the Middle East after a long deployment amid concerns about conditions on board. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is at the White House with the latest. Good morning, Rachel.
Michael, good morning to you. The USS Abraham Lincoln has spent more than 270 days at sea. After a 9-month-long deployment, they are finally making their way back home. They were only supposed to be out on that aircraft carrier for about 6 to 7 months, but that mission was extended the longer this war with Iran has continued to drag on. And of course, all of it comes amid new reporting about the worsening conditions on board that aircraft carrier, with the Military Times reporting they spoke to families of service members who said at least 2 people on board tried to jump overboard. President Trump dismissing those concerns, brushing it off, saying those Marines and sailors had not been on that ship long enough. But this war with Iran is at a virtual standstill. Oil prices are continuing to rise. Gas right now is about $4.10 a gallon. Over on Wall Street, the Dow plunging about 700 points. President Trump now trying a new strategy, threatening severe consequences for any country that tries to help Iran evade sanctions and help them finance.
Hey guys, look at that. Oil prices. Hold on. Let's just look at that. Uh-oh. Brent crude back towards $100 again. What did I tell you? Oh, whenever it starts to get, whatever oil price hits $100, then suddenly, oh, we're having a peace deal. Ceasefire imminent. Peace deal, guys. We've got a peace deal. U.S. to end summer blend gasoline requirement early in an attempt to lower prices. EPA said it would allow the sale of 10% ethanol gasoline with higher Reid vapor pressure beginning September 1st, 2 weeks earlier than normal. AKA, ladies and gentlemen, they're making your gasoline worse. They're adding alcohol to your gasoline to lower the octane, and it has lower energy density, so you get less energy out of your tank of gas, so you drive fewer miles, fewer MPGs. That's what they call it, MPGs. You're going to be getting less of them, but you're a dumb dope, so you're probably not going to notice because you just see the price at the pump. You're kind of a animal, really. You don't really know what's going on. Nobody knows. The United States typically switches to summer gasoline blends to reduce air pollution through September 15th. These blends have lower volatility measured by RVP, limiting evaporation that can contribute to smog in warmer weather. More smog, so you can breathe more of that pollution, and it looks uglier and everything's worse and life sucks more. But hey, I did get humiliated by Iran. The EPA said it also waived state-level controls on gasoline in Texas, Arizona, and California that extend beyond September 15th for the maximum period allowed of 10 days. Hastening winter-grade gasoline into supply via RVP waivers legally defensible can be done with a stroke of the pen, would engender minimal political blowback, and most importantly, would genuinely help to alleviate a supply crunch and offer immediate pump price relief. Did you see the Chinese solved a new corrosive resistant steel with direct potential application for hydrolysis amounting to 40% reduced cost for hydrogen production? But you have to refill more, so it's overall more expensive.
Yes, you do. But here's the thing. Here's the thing you're probably not going to notice because you're a fucking sheep.
But notably, the administration is not saying whether China, Iran's top trading partner, will face those severe consequences that President Trump is talking about. We know the White House and President Trump, well, they are now preparing for Chinese President Xi Jinping to visit here at the White House in just a few weeks, Rebecca.
Yeah, an important conversation ahead, and China's a big trading partner with the U.S. as well. All right, Rachel, thank you.
But there is a very, 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 very good news, chat, which is the polls are getting worse for the Republicans. Polls continue to slump for Trump as he nears George W. Bush levels. This motherfucker is cooked. And the thing about this is, like, I've been saying this was going to happen for a while now, and I think we're going to have landslides. There's been some polls that have come out for like extreme reach states. I would love to see a poll from Florida. But you know, I tend to think that Ohio, Michigan, Maine, those are the places, you know, North Carolina, those are the places where I think we're going to be the most likely to see a flip. I'm not a believer in Texas. Right? Like, I just don't believe in Texas. I think Texas is always a mirage.
An update to tell you.
Until I'm proven otherwise, you know? I'm not saying don't try. If you're in Texas, you definitely should try. But I'm going to be skeptical.
White House less than 3 months.
Alaska is another one. For sure.
Out from an election day, the economic news this week is exactly what you would not want to see. From the news that our national debt has now hit historic highs to a swing and a miss to stabilize a bond market that is jittery because of that staggering level of government borrowing, to the war in Iran driving up gas prices. It is all fueling a summer vibe shift on President Trump. An Economist YouGov poll found Trump's overall approval rating at 33%. That is the...
I told you, chat. Below 30 by November, the biggest landslide. Basically, everybody who ran and made it to the general election, and even a plausible, I think even Jared Moskowitz might win. I guess I'll take it. I won't. Honestly, if you were to say, Mike, what person in the Democratic Party do you want to lose the most? It would be Jared Moskowitz. Like, honestly, the guy he's just a Trumple. He's just a Republican. Might as well just have a Republican in that seat than have some fucking fake ass fucking and he constantly goes on Fox News to shit on the left, which I don't know if you know that hurts the Democrats. Do I think Nixon will win? I believe she can win. I think Donald Trump is going to be so unpopular. I think she could win. She just needs more money, which, by the way, chat, stop giving money to John Ossoff. I don't want to hear that any of you gave money to John Ossoff. If any of you gave money to John Ossoff, refund and give it to her. Okay? I don't want to hear that any of you ever gave money to John Ossoff. I swear to fucking God. Angie Nixon has climbed into the 4th highest fundraiser for this week. They don't even have a picture for her. And John Ossoff is at the top. I swear to fucking God, stop donating to John Ossoff and Jamestown Rico. Cancel your fucking and spend it on Angie Nixon. We need to raise her a fucking war chest. All of your money is going to Abdul El Sayed, Angie Nixon, and Troy Jackson. I don't want any other money going to any other senator. Those are your missions. Let the other people do the other, like, you know, kind of wobbling progressives. I want them to win, but no more John Ossoff or Jamestown Rico money. Stop it. They have enough. Stop it. Give to Angie Nixon. Nixon is a capitalist. That's not what she said. She says we're in a capitalist country. You should start your own business. Who cares? She is American dangism in. Market socialism in. Also, it is very funny for people to be like, how dare you participate in capitalism? You're doing the thing that our enemies do, but unironically to our allies. What the fuck are you saying? Ken has brain rot confirmed. Stop giving money to this fucking loser. Stop it. Stop giving money to these fucking losers. Asif, 8.7 million. Talrico, 7.6 million. Troy Jackson, 5.3. Abdul El Sayed, 5.0. Sherrod Brown, 3.6. Mary Peltola, 2.4. Tarek, 2 million. Annie Andrews, 1.7. Mark Kelly, 1.5. Alex Vinman, 1.5. AOC, 1.4. Haley Stevens, 1.3. Ladies and gentlemen, stop it. Vinman being in the top 10 and losing is funny as fuck. Stop it. I love how you rally up your audience. In some instances, you are much more aggressive to rally us up. It's a good thing. You influence. You should use it. I am. If I had one thing that one thing that would make all of us better off is if more people listen to me. Unironically, I hate to say it. I know it's the most arrogant thing you've ever heard in your life, and I apologize. I really do. But I feel like if the average Democratic donor listened to me instead of giving money to John Ossoff and James Talrico, we would be a lot better off. So please listen to me and stop giving money to Talrico and Ossoff. Why Talrico though? Don't we want Blexus? Because he's a Joe Manchin. We are the left. We don't need to help these corporate guys. Let the corporate whores help them. We're the left. Let's help our people. Troy Jackson, El Sayed, Nixon. No more. We're not helping these fucking corporate whores. Let the corporate whores help themselves. Okay? Focus on our people. That bad? Listen, I have engaged in a selective silence on the people that I don't like. All right? I have mostly ignored going after John Ossoff and James Talrico because we need to have the Republicans lose the Senate. And I want as many Democrats to win so we have as many people to pressure and try to make them good on the issues. And the more seats we have, the better, okay? Even if they're corporate whores for the most part. But when you guys start spending money on these guys, that's limited. There's only so much money that left-wingers have in this country. It should go to our people. John Ossoff has $40 million cash on hand. Stop spending money. Stop giving money for him. Angie Dixon, Tarek for Iowa, Abdul El Sayed, and Mary Peltella. Those are the ones that need it. Absolutely true. I swear to God, stop giving that fucking loser money. Jesus Christ. Stop it. Deep red bumfuck nowhere Texas town. No long signs at all. Every other election, I've had them everywhere since March, but none of this time around. Not even a Deb sign, just no signs at all. Trump is depressing his base like I've never seen by a mile. Yes! He's got a 33% approval rating, and it's going to go down because they're stupid! Because he did a stupid war in Iran. They have nothing good that's going to happen. All we have is AI data centers, slop, flock cameras, and high gas prices, and high mortgage prices, and high vehicle financing. Like, everything sucks. Everything's getting worse.
Lowest number Trump has seen in that poll in either of his terms. And even his
you guys can't see it. Sorry. Hold on. Let me make sure everybody can see it. La-di-da, 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 la-di-da. Yes. Lower! Everyone who's normal hates Trump. This is what I've been saying this for a long time, is that that the Republicans have a base number. It's somewhere around 25%, where it literally is impossible for them to go below that. 60 to 65% of Americans are what I would call in the normal bound, where they're like, I may disagree with them on a lot, but they're at least got some sort of humanity in there. And then there is, 25 to 30% that are literal Hitler. They would vote for Hitler. They're in a Trump cult. There's nothing they can do. But we're driving every single normal, persuadable human being in the entire country is starting to hate Trump. And this opportunity is once in a lifetime. Truly. If you've ever thought about running for office, start gathering it together. Start joining your DSAs and your local indivisibles and your local progressive organizations and get involved, because we are going to need people ready to go for 2028. When his approval rating is at rock fucking bottom, we need you ready to battle. Now is the time. Mike, will this be bigger than 2006? I believe that this will be bigger than 2006. I believe the Republicans are more depressed, and I think that everyone who's normal is more angry. We just saw somebody win a special election that was Trump plus like 18 or something. I think the Democrats are probably going to be between D plus 9 and D plus 15 wave. Anybody who's in an R plus 10 seat or less is vulnerable. And we should, if we have a really strong candidate, I think R plus 15 is plausible. Everyone has got a shot. That's why I think, unfortunately, Jared Moskowitz is probably going to win. I live in a mostly red city in Texas, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of Talrico signs that have only seen one Paxton sign. Ladies and gentlemen, how do we convince DSA to run more candidates? That's what I'm focused on, by the way. That's what I'm focused on. I am trying to figure out a way to get more people to run. And like, look at New York City DSA. Would anybody have thought Daria Lisa's race was doable when she launched her race? That was an insane campaign. Did anybody think Zohran Mamdani was doable when he launched that race? Would anyone think Nixon was doable when she started that campaign? No, those were batshit crazy campaigns that no one thought would work, and they fucking won. And if you thought it was doable, you were delusional. But that's what being a leftist is about. It's about being a little bit delusional, a little bit what we call revolutionary optimism. Or as Gramsci put it, which is the tagline of my entire show and community, pessimism of the intellect, optimism of the will. We can look at the world as it is without rose-colored glasses, but we take shots. All right, let's keep going.
Hard followers appear to be vanishing. That poll reported a new low of just 17% of Americans strongly approving of his job performance, including less than half of Republicans.
Only 48% of self-described Republicans strongly approve of Trump's performance. The cult is starting to weaken.
Jim Messina, Peter Baker are back with us. Jim, plenty of presidents have faced down a potential midterm bloodbath. I wonder, though, when you look at those numbers, does it hint at something bigger, something deeper?
It absolutely does. People talk about all the time, this might be 2018. It's way worse than that. In 2018, as we talked earlier, he was underwater by 10 points with independent voters. He's now underwater by 40-some points with independent voters. We just haven't seen something. I think it's more like 2006 when the Democrats took the House and the Senate at the end of George Bush's term because of the numbers. A number you and I closely track is Latino men. Donald Trump became the first Republican to carry them in 2024 by 10 points. He's now underwater by 30-some points with those same voters. Those are the voters that are going to decide elections in Nevada, in Georgia, in some of these big Senate races. And so, we're just not seeing numbers like this before. And again, when you're in the White House, you realize every day is a choice, and you've got to decide what to do. And at a time when we all would be moving an economic narrative, when we'd have the president out there talking, going to local events, talking about factories and jobs, he's giving reporters a tour of the helipad. He's distracting for days, to Peter's point about, defending Natalie Harp. It's like, if I was Republicans right now, I'd be losing my mind saying, what are you doing? Let's focus on expenses. And yet he spends time saying there aren't a problem. And so this is a creation mostly of their own making.
Yeah, the latest incarnation of this, Peter, was the administration's bond buyback. It was quickly shrugged off by the market. But Secretary Bessent says, trust us, just trust us. Oil bonds, it's all going to be fine. Take a listen.
In terms of being willing to do, what I would call a treasury twist here, in terms of the bond market, what do I know that the market doesn't know? So, I think the market's probably gotten a little ahead of itself. A lot of people, not much to do in August. I'm confident that bonds will continue declining. We've got a spike in oil prices today that I don't really understand. Our announcement is for economic action.
This guy is probably one of the most evil little rats, and he's got such a weird head. He's got such a fucking weird head.
And I think that the economic action will mean that oil prices will come down sooner.
Okay, so he's chalking this up to, quote, summer boredom, oil prices that he himself says he does not understand. Is it that the White House has become complacent, that they have become overconfident? Peter, help me understand what I suppose is their economic message.
Yeah, if he doesn't understand where the oil prices spike is coming from, he may be the only one. I think everybody else pretty much has an opinion about that. But look, it's the Treasury Secretary's job to talk up the economy, not to talk down the economy. You've heard Treasury Secretaries before say things that seem out of sync with people's economic, experiences in their own lives. It doesn't help politically if people don't feel it day to day as they go to the grocery stores, they go to the gas station, as they try to find a place to live that's affordable. You can hear a Treasury Secretary say that all the time, doesn't make a difference. And I think the problem for them is it sets in so early that it's hard to change perceptions. Jim knows this better than I do, but there used to be a rule anyway that the economy as it was in June is usually pretty much how people perceive it when they go to the polls in the fall. In other words, even if things get better, it's hard to change people's minds. They've locked in their ideas about how the economy is, and the polls have shown that they're even more in favor of Democrats and Republicans right now on economic stewardship, which used to be Trump's strength. And that's a problem for Trump. The one thing he always was able to fall back on is, you may not like everything else I do. You may be thinking I'm too much of this or too little of that. But the one thing I can do is build you a really good economy. That's not what people see right now, according to these polls. And that's going to be hard to turn around. Their theory of the case of the White House is if they can simply find a resolution to the Iran war sometime soon, that things will start to at least improve a little bit, that the numbers will tick up a little bit, the prices of gas will start coming down, and that will create some degree of momentum. But it's awfully late in the game. People start voting not in 75 days or whatever the number is. They start to vote actually much sooner than that in September in a lot of states.
I mean, Jim, we heard the Vice President of the United States recently say that we are still in the middle of the Iran crisis, not anywhere near the end. If that is their theory of the case, have they run out of time politically?
They absolutely have. And the research is really clear here. There's two moments that really matter for voters. To Peter's point, it's June. Why is it June? Because everyone gets out of school and puts their kids in a minivan and drives all over the place, and they realize how expensive gas prices are. The second is this week and next week, when everyone goes back to school and they have to shop and figure out how expensive all these things are. It's almost 40% higher this year than it was last year. These voters are feeling it. And at the same time, you have a Treasury Secretary who comes out and says he doesn't understand why the oil prices are higher. This is the thing that really scares voters and starts to make them believe that the administration doesn't have a plan to get them out of this.
Doesn't have a plan, is not in control, is perhaps even adding to the chaos. Jim Messina, Peter Baker, thank you both so much for being with us.
OpenAI or Anthropic need to make their IPO for that to happen. Both of them are putting off the eventual crash. Did SpaceX bounce back? I know they had the lockup end, so I figured it would bounce back. It would go up into the lockout, because they didn't want to. They don't want to sell to the rubes on a downslope. So it's basically back at the IPO price. The Austin Maoist dumped a pig head at a DSA branch meeting there. No wonder there's not a lot of DSA activity at Austin. I'm sure there's DSA activity at Austin. Austin Maoists. Like most ultras don't really spend a lot of their time attacking capitalism. They spend most of their time attacking other leftists. Kind of the ultra. That's what makes you an ultra leftist. So there's definitely an Austin DSA, and I'm sure it's doing well. Ezra Klein is talking about China again.
Welcome to Meet the Press Now. I'm Kristen Welker in Washington as the economy reaches an unsettling new milestone. The U.S. debt hitting $40 trillion for the first time as President Trump continues to face economic headwinds just months before.
How do you deal with ultra leftists crying about this movement? You just have to recognize that in every leftist movement in history, it's always been like this. When we were fighting the Spanish Civil War in bloody combat with fascists, ultra leftists were calling us sellouts. I need you to understand that they're literally never going to shut the fuck up because all they know how to do is whine. They're never, ever going to shut up. So the thing that you need to do is inoculate yourself against their bad faith arguments, and then you'll be fine.
For the midterm elections, all while he threatens what he's calling economic warfare at an unprecedented scale on Iran as that war continues to drive up energy prices. The debt has exploded over several administrations. It rose nearly $8 trillion during the first Trump administration. It rose by more than $8 trillion under President Biden, and it's risen by trillions of dollars under Mr. Trump's second administration. The White House, however, downplaying the new marker and blaming the Biden administration for the rising debt.
Look, the 40 trillion is a big number. It is smaller when we look at the publicly traded amount because our Social Security funds and other government entities hold a substantial amount. And what we're going to do, we're going to have to grow our way out of this. And remember, we did not get.
Remember when conservatives were like, I'm a fiscal conservative. That's why I vote Republican, because I worry about the national debt.
Here in a day that we were left with a mess. The Biden administration had the highest deficit to GDP in history when we weren't at war or weren't in a recession. For 2025, we brought it down by more than 1%.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also telling CNBC there's a very good chance the budget deficit under President Trump has already peaked. The soaring debt only adding to concerns about inflation, which comes as President Trump is underwater on his handling of the cost of living, inflation, and the economy. Meanwhile, the war with Iran continues to drive up fuel prices here at home. The national average for gas at $4.10 a gallon today, while oil prices are up roughly 30% a barrel since the start of the war. And now President Trump is ramping up economic warfare against Iran. In a post on social media, the president announcing, quote, the most crushing economic operation ever taken against any country, and going on to call it an economic D-Day. But the president and the Treasury Secretary offering few details on what those sanctions could be.
What else could be sanctioned on Iran? Well, we have things that we could sanction. We have very draconian sanctions, and we'll see what happens.
The economic pressure means that we are going to all of our allies, and this is going to be the greatest coordinated economic isolation in the history of the world. And we are going to them and saying, you are either with us or against us. It is time for our allies and the rest of the world to make a decision. And we are going to squash the economy of this murderous regime.
But Iran's foreign minister claiming this latest threat against Tehran is just a distraction from the president's own domestic woes, saying, quote, the so-called economic D-Day is a diversion from America's own crisis, unprecedented debt, and surging interest costs. Joining me now is NBC News business and economy reporter Ali Kanal, NBC News senior national political reporter Sahil Kapoor is at the White House, and also with me is Ravi Agrawal, editor-in-chief of Foreign Policy Magazine. Thanks to all of you for being here. Ali, let me start with you. We know that this increase in the debt didn't happen overnight. It has happened over several administrations. But how did the country get to $40 trillion in debt?
Yeah, Kristen, it is important to remember that this is pretty party agnostic.
This is not correct. The overwhelming portion of the debt is due to the tax cuts of George W. Bush and Donald Trump. And in fact, you're just lying blatantly because almost every single Democratic administration has reduced the deficit and reduced the rate of growth. Like, that's just not true. It's not party agnostic. That's actually propaganda for the Republicans. I would call it an outright lie.
This is something that both Democrats and Republicans have been dealing with for quite some time now. And if we zoom in over the past decade or so, COVID, that was pretty much a huge accelerant. 2 years of massive spending, trillions of dollars to fund some of those pandemic relief programs. You also, though, had some major policy choices under both President Biden and President Trump when it comes to spending. So Biden really spending aggressively on infrastructure, on clean energy initiatives. Then you have President Trump, the one big beautiful bill.
I mean, this is legitimately just propaganda to make you dumber. This is legitimately bullshit to make you dumber. Donald Trump increased the defense budget from $600 billion, which was already insane, to $1.5 trillion. Meanwhile, Joe Biden spent $20 billion on solar panels. That's roughly the same thing. Also, he did massive $4 trillion tax cuts.
Massive tax cuts, increased spending to military, immigration enforcement. That's part of the reason why this administration has leaned so heavily into tariffs to try and bring.
All right, chat. We're going to stop it there. But I don't know if you guys saw this. I went on Geese Magazine. They just started a podcast. I went on last week and I forgot to shill this thing. I was in Wisconsin. The Geese Magazine. I went on Geesecast. Go check this out if you want some more commentary about politics. Honestly, truly, this might be the biggest banger yet. So make sure you go check that out. The Geesecast, if you want more opportunity to listen to my dulcet tones and incredibly correct political analysis. Also, don't forget, it is Friday. You know what that means? It means we have a movie night tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We are watching whatever the fuck, Marxism, misogyny, hate pile. And remember, as I said earlier, Rhizome reached out late last night and actually put together a good apology. So I want to make note of that. I'm sure Vio is going to talk about it more. I don't want everybody to think that we're not willing to listen to people who are coming to us in good faith and who are contrite. Like, that's all we ever wanted, is comradeship and solidarity, and stop trying to backstab everybody. So I think the Wimans and the MBs need to have the opportunity to have their voices heard. So I'm going to send y'all over to Vio. If you're curious about what happened, stick around, listen to what she has to say, and don't just let the antagonists control the narrative. All right, everybody, stay safe. Solidarity forever. Here's all my links. Don't forget the Reaction Podcast. Get us to 1,000 patrons. We're just short. We only need a couple more patrons for the Reaction Podcast. All right, everybody, stay safe. Solidarity forever. See you tomorrow. See you tonight. Peace out.